me just make sure that this goes.
I need you to check the sound.
Sound is on.
Good.
I'm going to put the sew along on. I'm going to do this upstairs. I'm going to put this, let's see. I'm going to make this bigger for you. Oh, it won't let me. I'll make that bigger so you can see your chat. And then let's go YouTube. Cindy Lehman says good morning.
Good morning! Celinda?
Cindy Lehman.
Cindy Lehman?
And Lila Johnson.
Can I turn that towards me yet?
Share, copy link. You need to put power in your computer.
It's down there.
Oh, it's already plugged in. Oh, you already got it.
Good morning! Can I make this screen bigger or no?
No.
That's it?
That has to do with your...
Good morning, good morning. It's 9:57 right now.
Font settings.
We're just going to wait a couple more minutes and get everyone logged on. Here's my little area right here. These are the colors I'm going to be using. I don't know if you've already picked out your thread colors, but I'm going to be using these right here. Aloe. And this is subject to change because sometimes I grab it and I look and I go, ooh, that's not right. I can't decide if I should use lead gray or if I should use sterling. So I'm going to decide when I lay it down. I'm using Buttercup as my yellow, Pink Lemonade, and Sage, and Linen, and Pumpkin Seed. I had no idea which orange to get. So I literally just was like, just get me all the oranges. Because it's so hard to choose, right? So I bought this one. This one is Halloween. And this one is Bronze. And this one is Mango Smoothie. And look, I mean, they're pretty close, aren't they? But today I think what I'm going to use is Pumpkin Seed unless I get a wild hair and I decide to use one of the other ones. Good morning! Were you guys looking for a prep video? Because it's there. Just did it this morning. I got over. I don't know what was wrong with me. I do know what was wrong with me. Number one, I was tired. Number two, I spent the day yesterday ordering fabric and getting stuff because look what's coming out. And I will do a pre-order this week. Hang on, let me tighten the screws on my filming arm really quickly. This is what's coming out. Dun, dun, dun! Cuties Volume 2. I don't think it comes out until May, if I read it correctly. So, and this is not a great photocopy. I think October is my favorite. Isn't that cute? No tricks, only treats. This must be November, and it says, what does that say? Together? No, I mean, there's no G. Something, what does that say? Can you guys read that? Gather? It says gather, doesn't it? This one, which is going to be adorable. And they're using some of the new fabrics in this. September with the apples. This one is with the sunflowers, so that's going to be adorable. And this one has little picnic baskets. That's going to be July. So this is Cuties Volume 2, July through December. I'll do a pre-order on, I'm ordering all the fabric I probably won't have all the fabric until I'm probably a week and a half out to having all the fabric because I need to go to the store too and look and see what I have there. But I am going to cut 48. I'm going to start with 48 kits, but I wouldn't be surprised if I probably cut closer to 100 kits per month for what we're doing right now. And it's been a struggle sometimes just getting the fabric and making sure I had all the right fabric in stock and then getting it again. So I'm trying to order extra this time so everything will be ready and you'll get it right when you want to get it. What else did I want to tell you? I did put up, I did also put up a pre-order for, I think it's on the site, for Life in Full Bloom. Is that what it's called? Oh, it's so cute. Just know I'm waiting for 3 more fabrics that should come in this week. So I'm hoping I'll get it shipped out on Friday or on Tuesday. And I started out with 48, but I have plenty. Once everything comes in, the other stuff, I'll have plenty to cut more than that. So I think you can go on and get that now. Book price, I don't know. It's probably going to be the same as this one. And I think this one was $59.99 and we'll do it 20% off. So I haven't put it up yet because I'm going to put up a pre-order for Cuties 2. I'm going to put up a pre-order for Fall into Autumn, which is the new quilt. And I thought there was one more pre-order I was going to do, but I can't remember. So we'll just call it that for now. So, but this week, all of that stuff is going to go out. And we'll do, everything goes up as 20% off, except the fabric kit will be 15% off because they charge me tons of shipping on that. Let's get started. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Good morning, everyone. Okay, this is what we're going to be working on today. If you, and Anna, I have your color guide at the store. But if you need help picking out colors and you are trying to do Kimberbell colors, which are they use Glide. So if you're trying to do that, or you're trying to match up the colors with what you have in your own stock, because I know, like for myself, I have all different brands. I'm more of an Isacord Glide girl at this point, but I do have other brands from like my whole entire embroidery life. But this is nice to have. I imagine they're going to come out with a new one because they've come out with new colors, but I have no idea when. So you might as well get this one. These are $21.99 at this store. And like I said, if you want to get anything from today's sew along, just put a note that you want. I'll give you 15% off for the sew along. So just put a note in the upper right hand corner. Or well, actually, just in the notes on my screen, it's the upper right hand corner. But in the notes, say I'd like my 15% off sew along discount, and it applies to almost everything. Almost everything. We'll go ahead and adjust those prices. All right, let's start out with, we are going to do our inner border strips, which are going to be the little pink and white. And I will do sew-alongs for all of the new table toppers too, because it keeps me on track. Because there's sometimes where I get lazy. And so this, I love having this scheduled with you guys, because otherwise I might just, maybe I'd still be in my pajamas right now, in bed, cuddling my dogs. So get out your little strips. You should have 1 3/4, I think that is, 1 3/4 by 10.5 and 13, or 10.5 and 13.5, something like that. I had you cut your strips. These should be 1 1/4 this time. It took me, 3 of these to finally figure that out, but you're going to do these 1 1/4. And you are going to want to hoop up. I'm doing this in my 8x12 hoop. If you don't have an 8x12, you can do this in your 6x10. You're just going to have to do more hoopings. We're going to do it in this hoop. And let's go ahead and go over to the machine. I'm going to slide my hoop on. My new furniture will be here, I think, at the end of March. And then we're going to do a whole makeover with my sewing room. And Patrick seems to think that's going to help, but I was just telling him, I don't know. I need to get rid of some stuff. That is what is really going to help. Getting rid of stuff. Hang on, my cord is wrapped around. I can't even like show you my whole sewing room because it's so bad. And I'm embarrassed. Here we go. Because it's kind of a dumping zone too. Like all my craft stuff gets dumped in here. And they just take all my stuff. All of Mommy's stuff goes in here. Let's go embroidery. Good morning, Miss Betty. Let me grab my book and my handy dandy spreadsheet. So here's the spreadsheet. We are going to be doing the inner borders, which, and the design size we're going to choose is going to be 1x10 and 1x12. The strips, of course, are going to be a little bit longer, so we're going to center, especially the 1x12, we're going to center that in your 1x13 piece. Let's go here. Let's go to our pocket, and we're going to go quilting designs. And quilting designs inner border, it is orange peel is what we're looking for. So we're looking for orange peel right here. We're going to load the 1x10. And let's choose our hoop size so you know how much room you have to work with. So I'm going to go up here to my handy dandy settings. That's the settings. And then I'm going to go here and we're going to choose 8x12 because that's the hoop that I'm working in. We did a special on hoops. And if you, I may still be able to get that price. So if you weren't able to sign up and get those prices, send me a note. I'm going to say, okay. We're going to take that and move it all the way to the upper left-hand corner. I'll use my finger for general placement and then come in here and use my arrows for precise placement. We need another one of these. So the easiest way to do it is to touch your edit button again. And remember, your edit and your color list go one on top of the other. So just keep hitting this and once it'll take them and flip them. We're going to go, just hit this button right here. That makes a copy. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it with my arrows because if I move it with my fingers, I might move that one underneath. Okay, now we're going to add because the next design we're adding is a bigger one. So go ahead and touch add. I keep a save tub. What do you put in your save tub? I have like 20 save tubs. That's an issue. My issue is I save too much. I'm like, I might need that 1-inch piece of fabric. I don't know. I could tie it around something. Make it pretty. We're going back to orange peel. What I need to do is I need to not save. But I love saving. It is like I was talking about it in the prep video. I don't know if it's nature or nurture. I don't know if I was just born to save and I can't stop myself, or if my mom taught me to save and I can't stop myself. Okay, so now you have your 1x12 right here. I'm going to go ahead and touch this because we're going to do 2 of those. That made a copy. Don't move it with your finger. Move it with your arrow so you don't move the design underneath. The other thing you could do is you can go to your select buttons and that'll get you to different designs. Sometimes you have a small design and a bigger one on top of it and it's the one underneath you want to move and you can't get to it. That's when you use your select buttons. Okay, now I'm going to space everything. So this one I can move over to the right and maybe we'll move this one over to the right one and that looks beautiful. Good morning, Miss Brenda. All right. I think we're ready. I am hooped up and ready to go. The first color that we're going to be stitching with is going to be, I think it's for the quilting. Let me grab my book. And it tells you right here, your inner border, which is what we're doing right now. You want to use the pink to do the quilting, so that's the color I'm going to put in. I am using pink lemonade. If you want to order individual glide colors, I order, probably twice a month. And so you can just let me know what colors you want, and I'll do, they're $4.99 a spool, and I can do 15% off of that for you. First thing, let's talk about our design. We're going to go ahead and say okay. Now we have to touch embroidery to go to the screen from which we embroider. And you're going to see this right now. And you might not have this on your screen, but this is a progress bar. And it has it's doing each one separately. I'm going to color group. So right here, I'm going to touch that button. And now you can see it's bigger chunks because it's going to do all the placement at once. We are going to do, this is placement for your batting, tack down for your batting, placement for your fabric, tack down for your fabric, and the quilting. We are going to skip all the way to this, which is going to be placement for your background fabric, and we're going to spray everything. So you can touch in this bar, or you can touch this button down here, which is where you go forward and backwards colors. So I'm going to touch that. I'm going to touch here in the orange because I don't want to overshoot into my blue. And then I'll go forward. So you're going to see right here, we're in my orange. Now I'm in my blue. I know I'm at the very first part of it, and I'm going to go ahead and hit start. While it's doing that, I'm going to spray my fabric strips with my batting down the center. Which sew along this? This sew along is April's Cuties. This one right here. Miss Annetta, you've got a birthday coming up. I was going to change this morning, and I went out to the garage because I'm at home today. I went out to the garage and I didn't have any cardboard. Patrick cut it all down, so I couldn't change it. Okay, don't be grossed out. Here's my spray box that I love. I'm going to use this right now. And what I'm going to do is we're going to lay down our batting strips down the center of this and then put it on the placement line, and we're going to skip the first two steps. You can only do this if you pre-cut. Those are my 13-inch pieces. Here are my 1.5, and I don't cut these down in the beginning. I'll cut them down later. See how nice it is when you have a sticky spray box? Like this is totally vertical, and it just sticks. I love it. Okay, you want this smooth side. You're going to spray the smooth side because the smooth side goes up, and then we'll spray it again. I'm super excited about the new Cuties. They're so cute, and I feel like we're on like a roll. Like we need to do them. And I love what everyone's doing with it. I've seen people make them into pillows. When you use your own fabrics, it's so cute. I think the great thing about the kit is it's mindless, right? You don't have to think about it. You just grab your kit and you're ready to go. So I'm going to spray these first, and then I'm going to flip them over and lay them down here. And you don't have to spray them all the way down. 10 inches, and then these 13 inches to fit down there. I'm going to flip it and lay it down the center. And I don't pre-cut these because I feel like when I do, they're either too long or too short. Because, I mean, batting, you know, depending on how you lay it down, it can have a little bounce, a little give. This is much better than the 1 inch. Because, you know, these are, you're doing 1 3/4 and then you subtract 1/2 inch. That's why we're doing them 1 and 1 1/4. Because I didn't have them quite wide enough last time. Okay, we're going to spray it one more time. Now that we have it down here. We're going to give it one more spray. And we're going to lay it down. And I usually don't spray too heavily. I'm more like this. That's how I like to spray. But with this, I want it to stick down. I want it to stay down on the sides. So I do spray a little more liberally. Let's come on over to the machine. Make over this sewing. Okay, do you want to see it? You know what? This is going to be like me. Then I don't have a problem, right? If I show it to you. Okay, I have a fireplace. So here's my like overflow stuff. I also make jewelry. Here's my fireplace that keeps me warm. There's the outside. Oh my God. There's my long arm. There's junk on the couch. Let's do this fast because I'm real. Oh, look at it. It's really bad. and then back around again. So, like that stuff over there has become a dumping zone. Really embarrassing. I can't even believe I just showed that to you. If Alice, if you're watching, I'm so sorry that you had to see that. Alice sent me something and everything was labeled. I was like, oh my goodness. I know what Alice's sewing room looks like. And it doesn't look like mine. So let's go. I'm going to go a little bit above the top line. Actually, no. Wait, you know what? With this, we're going to center it. Center it to this. Because these are a little bit bigger, so we're just going to center. It's not that fat. Linda, I know you too. Your sewing room is amazing and immaculate. So center it. So I'm going to go like about 1/2 inch above and 1/2 inch below. And today, and I played this game with myself, and it's called, well, sometimes it depends. Sometimes it's called put away 10 things. Sometimes it's called put away 20. And I'll try to come into my sewing room, and I'll try and do that a couple of times. Okay, put away 10 things. Because then it's not as overwhelming for me. So, you know what? We will do a before and after, and I'll take a picture, and I'm just going to be real with you. It's going to be real, Jeannie's real sewing room. And then the after. I just love my couch. And I sit there a lot. Okay, I'm going to center this too. So just go, I don't know. I've got about 3/4 inch top and bottom. And that's okay, because you're going to get a 1/4 inch is going to get sewn in, so you're going to have about 1/2 inch that doesn't have design on it. My room's kind of irregularly shaped, but somehow it was just perfect with my furniture, just fitting everything in it. This looks pretty bad right now. I haven't had time to... We've been so busy at this store, like that Kimberbell sale was a lot of work. And then the hoop sale. And so Violet's friends started working with us on Saturday. And it gave me hope. Because usually I feel like I'm drowning in the ocean. And I felt like, oh, I have a life preserver. What are those the little tubes that go around you that save you from drowning? I felt like that happened because she entered all this product for me. It was just great. Okay, we're going to do the next step. The next step is going to stitch this down. As it's stitching, I'm going to kind of lay my hand on top here and just make sure it's smooth. If I need to stop it to adjust my fabric, then make sure you keep your finger here to do that. When it goes up the right-hand side, whoop, can't see that, can you? I kind of tickle my fabric over to the right and just make sure that it doesn't get pushed to the left and pucker and buckle. I don't know. I know my sewing room gives me anxiety. And then I see some people's sewing room and I want it to look like that. Even if I had all the time in the world, my sewing room would not look perfect. I'm just not that person. But it would look better. That's what I'm really shooting for, is just better. We're going to do all our orange peels. We'll probably have time to start our bunnies, but we'll probably end up doing one. What's everyone working on today? Because I know not everyone's working on Cuties. This is more of and if you're joining us for the first time, it's a sew along, but I really think of this more as stitching with my girlfriends, because it's not a class. Because this is, sorry, I gotta keep my hands over here and then I'll fix my camera. I know it's not aimed at the right spot. Because when I do these sew-alongs, I'm stitching this for the first time. I've never stitched this out before. That's why these sew-alongs are free. Because sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. And I always depend on you ladies to keep me on track. I don't know if Joanne Patterson is here. She usually catches me from making major mistakes. And if you're new and you see me doing something like major, stop me. Because we're just girlfriends stitching together. I do that too, Cindy. Like I look for, looking for stuff. I'll do a cleanup. Okay, now we're going to do the quilting stitch and then we are done with our inner borders. So just go ahead and hit start. If you don't have a color you like, put it in now. This is the stitch that's going to make a difference. While it's doing this, let's get hooped up for our next one. Or you're at work. I'll try and be really quiet so nobody hears us. Tonight, I'm going to work on, well, I'm planning on going to the store to get a little caught up, but I'm planning on working on Oh So Delightful spreadsheet. Because we're going to start that on Monday. And if you need a kit for that, guess what? I think I have 5 more fabric kits at the store. Here we go. I'm going to go 6 by 10. The very first sew-along that I did the orange peels in the 5 by 7 because you can fit it in the 5 by 7. But what I realized is trimming it isn't going to be as easy because there's no outer stitch line that you're going to fussy cut around. So if you have a 6 by 10, go 6 by 10. Here's my 6 by 10. I'm going to be using muslin. So that's the other thing I really like is I like using muslin. If you like this 60-inch, get it now because I try to reorder and it doesn't even look like they're selling 60-inch anymore. I like the 90-inch. But I know some people, the 60-inch is really wide for you. When I use muslin for my 6 by 10, I like it 10.5 inches, I think is what I normally cut it to. This might be a little small. This was like leftover. Oh no, this is actually really big. Was this leftover? It was like skinny and then fat. Pop this open. Celinda! We got the high shoes! And we laughed really hard when you said no excuses. Oh, look it. This must be for my 5 by 7. This is the 9-inch. Sorry. Where is my... And I've been meaning to send you a note. I got your note about Kimberbell and how it wasn't the right email address, and I'm so sorry about that. I didn't even think that was like an issue. So, but that'll be a good heads up for me for the next person that's having trouble. I thought you just hadn't found it there, that you tried out to find it, and they hadn't loaded it yet because they were slow to load. But yes, thank you so much. Everyone can thank you for sending those. Okay, so here is, instead of flexi foam for the bunny, could use batting instead to give it some poof. Yeah, absolutely. You could use flexi foam, you can use batting, you can use whatever you want. You could not put anything in there if you want. You can talk as long as you just need. Started on the switch of button. Oh my god, you're prepped and ready to go. Now Patrick has no excuse. He has no excuse because he won't go to the store. And I'm like, please. And he's He's like, no, I'm not going to. He's tough. That Patrick Mulligan, he's a tough cookie. Okay, other things that you're going to need will be, let me grab my fabric because I sorted it all. Here's my orange peel stuff. So you're going to need your background fabric, which is going to be the white floral. Oh, shoot. Guess what? So I was listening and it sounded funny over here. And I don't know how this happened because I'm a stickler about using my hoop tightener. But I looked over and look at my foot. I didn't tighten it up. So let me go ahead and tighten it up. I must have tightened it and then said, oh, I'll use my hoop tightener later. I love this. Everyone should have it be in my top 5 list of things to get. When you want to hand tighten and then you want to take this, it'll catch. There's a screwdriver and it's like that much of a turn. It should be just tight enough where you can't undo it by hand. I'm lucky that didn't shake off, and you know that's the worst, right? When it shakes off and it breaks and you're not expecting it and you're like, what the heck is happening? Okay, 4 of these, and they should all be backed with usable woven. If they're not, it's going to be fine too, especially since these are darker colors. And then you should have your batting pieces. So there's our orange peel. And just in time. Let me go ahead and slide that off. We are ready for our next one. That's gonna, you know what, Celinda, we should put that in a reserve area. This is the no excuses high shoes. That's what people are gonna be getting. Let me slide this on. Oh, actually, before I slide it on, if I do, it's going to change till my design is still up. It's going to tell me to change to a bigger hoop. So first thing I'm going to do is just hit OK. I'm going to hit my home button. That's going to clear my screen. And now I'm ready to slide it on. I am working on Cuties. Anna, I bet your sewing room looks amazing. Patrick is right. Sending candy. You know why we send them? Because back in the day, because I love sewing, but I love jewelry making too. I can't remember who it was, but one of the places I bought from, they used to put Twizzlers in their packages. And I looked forward to getting that package, and I would open it up and eat my Twizzler right away. Hang on, I'm trying to tighten up my filming arm. I don't know why it's flopping. I totally look forward to that. And I know some of you, we have a customer and I send her 2 high chews because her granddaughter always opens up the package. And that way they both get one. Does that screw thing work on all Brother machines? Let's talk about that. So there is this one and it's almost black. It's like super, super dark green now. And this size fits perfectly over this big screw. I also use it here on this screw because I can kind of peek in from the side and put it on and use it here too. And I use it here down on my hoop. Now they make a blue one and the blue one fits perfectly over this hoop. This one's a little bit big, but it doesn't make a difference because do you see the little screwdriver part in there? Once you get it on here and just turn it, it'll catch. So there's a blue one that works perfectly on this. Then there's another set, and it's smaller than this. And it is, this is going to work on the high shank machines. And the high shank machines means that it screws on about 1 inch above the fabric when you put the foot down. So this is high shank. If you have a low shank machine, the screw is probably about 1/2 inch above, or maybe 3/4 of an inch. I've never measured it before. If you have the low shank one, this will still fit on it, I think, but there is another set that fits perfectly over that screw. But I feel like this one's, if you have the low shank one, I would get, and I usually, do I check what? I don't. I used to be like, hey, just want to make sure this is the right one. But there's if you have a low shank one, you're going to get the other set. And it's going to be yellow or blue. It depends on whatever they send me that I have in stock at the time. But yes, this is the best. High shank, just get this. Then you don't have to go looking for the blue one and the green one. You can just use this one for everything. That's my preference. Or else you could get this one And everyone who has an embroidery hoop, you could get the blue one to use on here. But this one was going to work too. I don't know if the low shank one works on here. Honestly, I haven't tried it, so I'm not sure. Maybe somebody has it and you can tell us. It is sweet. It is totally sweet. Okay, let's load our design. I'm all about multi-purpose tools. Why is this thing not staying? Oh, here. Sorry, as I adjust. I'm going to swing this one up a little bit. There we go. Okay, we are going to go USB. Let's get the handy dandy spreadsheet and see what design we're using. And you know what? They've started adding everything. Everything is kind of here on this page. I still like my spreadsheet. Maybe we won't need them anymore for the Oh So Delightful. But this gives me little hints. Do I need to align it? What color am I going to be using? So I find these helpful for me. You do not have to use them. Kimberbell Cuties, and we are doing, for the design for this is the orange peel. We're going to do Carrot Center, April. Here's April. We're going to do Carrot Center, and I'm using this 6x10. Select that one if you can, because do you see the difference between these two? This one doesn't have the full square around it. It's just on the top and the bottom. And this one has the full square around it, so you're not going to have to, it's easier to fussy cut that when you're trimming it out. So I'm going to go ahead and set that, and we are going to scoot it all the way up to the top. Before we do that, we're going to add our design, and that's going to be orange peel. So go ahead and hit add. Here is our orange peel. Set it. It brought it in center. Now we're going to go to our next page, and that's where we're going to move it. The other thing I'm going to do is, this is still the outline for the 8x12 hoop. I'm going to go in here and select the 6x10, which is 6 1/4 by 10 1/4, but that's the 6x10. I just don't say the whole thing. Now this will move as one. It'll combine it in this screen. I'm going to go layout, move, and I'm going to scoot it all the way up to the top. It's going to save us all that muslin, and we're just going to leave it on this strip. And so we'll just rehoop, stitch, rehoop, stitch, rehoop, and you save so much stabilizer or muslin depending on what you're using. All right, let's talk about our steps. First step is going to be, it's got to be this right here. That's not holding. Right here is going to be placement for your batting, tack down for your batting. We are going to do that. And then we're going to do, we're not going to do placement for our background fabric because it's going to be big, but we will do the tack down and then stitching the quilting stitch. First color that's going to make a difference. This is going to be, I'm going to go with white because that's what the quilting is going to be in. Let me go ahead and take my thread out. Oh, somebody was saying something about how I shouldn't pull back on my thread. And I like to show this every once in a while. I'm going to just rethread it with this so you can see. So I do not pull back. You want to make sure that, number one, your foot is up. So this little trap door is open because that means your tension disc right here is closed. I unthread. So I'm going to just take it here. I'm going to just unthread it. And once you get it past right here, it just comes right out. It just comes effortlessly out. I use both my horizontal spool pin, and then I have a 10 spool, and it really is for storing thread. You know, I can line it all up there. I'm going to go ahead and put my white in. When you thread from your spool stand, make sure you still use this. So you're going to go here and then thread her up. I have a 7511 anti-glue needle in right now. That sounds like it looks, looking in the one place. Oh no, Anna! You just bring me your candy, I'll eat it. Okay, I'm going to do the first step. This is going to be placement for our batting. And while it does this, I'm going to give it a little spray. Maybe they sent you icky candy because high shoes are not a waste. spray the back side of your fabric, it's going to be the nubbier side because your batting has a wrong and a right side. You want the right side sticking up. Oh, Linda, come in. I'll give you a high chew. I know we talk a lot about high chews, don't we? Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm also gonna spray my and I'm using my spray tent. This is my dime spray tent, and I love it. And I feel like everyone should get one of these too. So we have them on sale at the site. They're $24.99, and we have them on the site for $19.99. You don't have to get crazy with the spray. I'm just going to center this to my batting. We're going to do our tack down, and then we're going to do our quilting stitch. So sometimes I used to fold it. Now I just like lay it down. I can kind of look underneath and see where it is. You just want to make sure you have about an inch all the way around. And once you do, just press it down. We're going to skip some steps here. It's all about being efficient, right? Which I struggle with. I'm going to go in here, here. This is going to be tacked down for the batting. So turquoise is placement, orange is tacked down. So we're going to go to skip this. That's placement for your background fabric. We don't need that. We're going to do orange tack down. And then we're going to do the quilting too. I can't believe I didn't screw my foot down before. I'm always upset when I do that. I go, how could that have happened? I'm a stickler when it comes to screwing on the foot and the needle. Those you always want to hand tighten and tighten a little bit more with your screwdriver. Okay, this is your background quilting. I'm just doing mine in white. Oh, Betty, we'll get you that hoop. They've gotta be sending me those 8x12s that we ordered last year. I ended up with, ooh. Oh, thanks, Joyce. Hopefully, let me see if I charged you for two, too. It gets confusing. There's a lot of orders. I do my best to keep them straight. We'll let you choose, Linda. I'll say either I'll give you a hug or you can have a high chew. I take the high chew. Oh, let's focus. Focus, Jeannie. I want you to grab one of each of these. We're going to spray it. Don't pre-spray all of them because I feel like they get less sticky. And so we're going to do one orange and then one of these. And if you want to sit here and group them, you can group them. I'm going to take these to my spray tent. You've seen it, so what it looks like. And I'm going to spray the back side of these right now. Focus, Jeannie. And you don't have to be crazy with the spray. So now we're on this step right here, load the design. We are going to do, step 1 is placement. So we're going to start with this, which for us is, if you loaded the quilting design, it's step number 6. So since we're going to be doing the outline stitch in, I wonder why they have that in the red. Oh, April design. So that just says April. So this is April. It's going to be the left-hand side. And I still wonder why they have that. Oh, that's not really red. That's going to be the orange. So I'm going to go ahead and put my orange in right now because the rightmost one is in orange. So let's go ahead and change our thread out. Don't worry. I can get you those. What's holding, some people have ordered April, June, and July. July, I'm waiting on Muse. And I should have that soon. I actually just, I know this is crazy. I ordered 2 bolts 2 months ago, and I've been waiting. I just bought some retail from a retailer in Stockton so I could get those kits out to you. And I should have those this week. So just order it and we'll get it sent out to you. I guess next, because I'm hoping to have all the kits cut. Next month, I'll do an option for buy them a la carte, buy 3 months at a time, and buy the whole kit and caboodle. Okay, first one we're going to lay down is going to be the orange. This is all going to be placement line, tack down line, and trim. Get your favorite applique scissors. This is a little thicker because it has the shape flex on it, so I'm not going to use my snips. Anytime it's just one layer of fabric, I really like to use my snips like these because it's just like they're spring loaded and just so easy. For these, I'll probably use, here's Dr. Embroidery's, my little tub of tools. I did have this in my, because I have the Femore scissor set and I had it in there, but I had too much. So I just took it all out and now I just put it in here. I find that holding it up like at a 90-degree angle, you know, allows me to get really close. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. Oh, look, I'm so close I'm cutting the stitch. So you don't want to do that. But it's okay because there's going to be another stitch that comes in on top of that. This stitch that it's finishing with is, I call it the Kimberbell stitch. And it's not a satin stitch, so you do need to trim nice and close. You don't want to have little pieces of thread sticking out. Okay, now it's going to do the Kimberbell stitch. It's kind of like candle wicking, but not kind of like a, what's that other stitch? It's like little diamonds. It's the personal touch. I did a lot of the wrapping of the packages that are going out, so you're going to see they're very nice and neat. Otherwise, it's Patrick and Ryan, and you know, boys just don't have as nice a touch. Not that all boys don't. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying my boys at the store. Okay, let's switch out our thread to, yeah, now it's going to do the one down here. Let's switch to our green. Make sure you have a green that you like. I did choose aloe, which I think is going to be really pretty. I really like aloe. Okay, placement stitch. And the next one that's going to go down is going to be the green floral. The star stitch. That's a good name for it. We can call it the star. At this point I'm like it's the Kimberbell stitch because it's like what they use in so much. And put that down. That was your this is your tack down and trim. Easy peasy. These are going to be a piece of cake. We're just going to fly right through these. If you are having trouble keeping up, don't worry about it. Just go through the process and do yours because maybe you get 3 of these done and I get 4 of them done. It's fine. It's not a race. It's all about the end goal, which is a finished table topper. So Linda, I'm so sorry. I was meaning to email you all weekend, just to let you know I got that email, and I was, like I said, I'm happy that you guys figured that out. I'm sorry I didn't figure that out for you. Oh yeah, Patrick won't put a note anymore. He did for a while. I was like, can you just do a smiley face? Then it's like, you know, it's not just shoved in the bag. I thought Ryan was still doing it. We're going to have a talk. Okay, next one you're going to put down, we're going to use that same green. I think we're using that same green for all of these. If you want to go with a different green, you can. I'm just going to use aloe for all of these. We're going to do I would call this east, south. We're going to do west. So just hit start, do your placement line. The next piece of fabric that you're going to grab is the solid piece of green. I see we've got 44 viewers, so who else is here today? Cora, did you find it? I'm hoping you found it. These are all live feeds. Some people ask for the Zoom link and they're just live feeds, so it makes it easier. Okay, that's your tack down. Go ahead and trim. I mean, you know where the next one's gonna go. You could skip that placement stitch. I always skip stuff if I can. Uh-oh, what happened? Did something happen on... Oh, it was their... I don't know if it was their end. I usually... So, as far as, like, people that sign up for Digital Dealer Club, I use the email address that you email me from. And so, I loaded whatever email address, I did that. That was me. So, it was totally my fault. Hello from California. Renata, where are you? Are you in, like, the snowy part? Are you in the sunny part? We're getting sick of the snow here. Hi, Miss Pam. Hi, Miss Kate. How's the weather in Southwest Florida? Southern California sounds so good right now. Violet is waiting to hear from, she applied to USC, so she's waiting to hear, like the big day is March 18th. Waiting to hear she got in. Hi, Miss Cora, you made it! Yay! Okay, next one that's going to go in is going to be the last one. This one is called, this pattern's called Tufted. With an ED. And it gets thick. Sometimes it just makes that sound. Don't get stressed out about it. Okay, go ahead and hit start. Do your last placement line. And we are going to be done with this one. We'll trim them all later. Stockton! Oh my God, Renata, that's where I had to buy my fabric at retail so I could finish those kits. Raining and hailing. From Cincinnati! You guys have, like, I am shocked because my friends back east said they've gotten no snow. And you know, remember that horrible storm they had in Buffalo? So I think everyone thought, wow, they must be getting socked in. And, yeah, there's been no snow. I don't know if you've gotten snow in Ohio. Which feels weird to me, right? It feels weird if you're from an area that usually gets a lot of snow. I think Europe has gotten absolutely no snow. So Patrick skied this weekend with... So they just had World Cup here. The World Cup ski competition up at Palisades, which was formerly known as Squaw. And I don't know if you know this, but Patrick's a really good skier. So he was skiing with, was one of the competitors was from somewhere in Europe. I don't know where. And I think he hit his head, so he wasn't allowed to do the competition. But he decided to stay in California for a while because, whoop, do you see that? No thread. He decided to stay because they have no snow they have no snow in Europe. Which, like, oh, it just breaks my heart when there's, too bad it just can't be like how it usually is. Anyhow. Like there is less of a... Oh, Terry, you know what? If I'm doing the package, there's a no. Florida 87. That sounds so good. Hi, Miss Carol. You stitching with us today? Susan, where in Idaho are you from? You know, that's the end game for us. We, well, not the end game, but, and totally not, I mean, with weather like this. But Idaho, we bought some property up in Victor that someday we hope to build on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rehoop. You guys saw how to do that. We're just going to do it again. It all went north of us in Cincinnati. You guys didn't get any snow? You want some snow, right? You don't want a ton of it, but some of it. End of the week. In the UK, Sarah, you're in the UK? Have you guys had, like, just the craziest weather? I mean, we've been in a severe drought here in Nevada. And we've had, like, months and months where we've had no precipitation. Now we're on the other end. Okay, when I rehoop, I like to see just a little bit of this. It depends on what you're doing. But for if I'm trying to get it to be a tight hooping, just a little bit of the embroidery design from above is enough. And that's kind of how I gauge it. But you don't have to do it like me. I might have to open up this part a little bit down here in the bottom. What's the Kimberbell scene like in the UK? Like, how does it work over there? Like, do you have, like, sewing? Like, how are the sewing shops? Is it big? Like, when I was in Korea, I went and visited my cousin. Nobody sews. The only people, which is ironic, right? Because, like, so many sewn things come from Korea. But, like, as a hobby, nobody sews. So my cousin was like, "Ooh, your business is not going to do," because he was like, "Nobody sews." Okay, we're going to do it again. It's already up on the screen. I'm going to go ahead. Let's put in the pink. I'm worried about you UKers. Like, I didn't know that it wasn't snowing over in I didn't know that well, I did know because I've seen all those pictures of all the rivers that are drying up. But if only we could redistribute precipitation, right? Okay, we're going to do the first step. First step is going to, and we don't have to move anything on the screen. First step is going to be the placement stitch for your batting, and I'm going to spray my batting and my background fabric right now. Killeen, Texas. Oh, that sounds really nice too. I know the 8x12. The 8x12 is, I love the 8x12. It's one of my favorite sizes. I am so sorry they're not here yet. We just got in some upgrade 2s. We have been waiting for those upgrade 2s. I don't want to make you scare you, but it took us, I want to say we ordered those in September. We just got them in. The reason why, I mean, I can get you, if you are sick of waiting, I can get you the baby lock hoops because I think they have those in stock. The issue is I can't do that amazing price. Brother's giving us that extra discount, and that's how I was able to do that $59.99 price, but I can still give you a pretty good price, so call me Betty if you really want it, and I'll see what I can do. Okay, I don't know why I put pink in. We are doing white, aren't we? So let me put my white in. Where is it? I had my big old king cone. We'll just use this. Oh, I never even got it out. I have Isacord white. My favorite Isacord white is 0015. They have like 4 different whites. They have like ghost white, paper white, plain white. I forget what the other one is. Maybe Snow White? This is our... Whoops! Guess what I forgot? We're going to fast forward. This is what happens when I start talking. See, look at this is artwork from Violet. Like, what am I going to do with that? Is she going to want it? What do you do with your kids' artwork? I've hung some of it, but I just can't throw it away. It's my babies. Okay, we're going to skip. This is the tack down for the batting. This is the placement stitch. We already laid our fabric down. We just made sure we had about 1 inch all the way around. Now we're going to do the tack down, which is an orange, and then we'll do the quilting. And then I'm going to read some comments. If I missed your comment, I'm so sorry. All the spring flowers. What? You have budding spring flowers? Not here. We're going to have a short... Well, you know what happens here in Reno? What we're used to is we're used to snowstorm, super nice, unseasonably warm day in summertime and in winter. Go ahead and hit start. It's just, I love the weather here normally. Fab store, but so expensive. They don't do any sales for you. The Angels Camp. Wow, Renata, that's crazy. Oh, geez, I heard that there's like, I mean, I think Tahoe is almost in a state of emergency right now. They were trying to, like, get people, during that last storm, they just closed 80 because they didn't want anyone coming. It's so dangerous with all that snow. And I don't think people don't realize how dangerous it can be. Patrick was up, I can't remember who he was visiting, and while this is stitching, I'm going to spray my next grouping of applique pieces, and he was there, and there was, hang on, he was there, and a little, I don't even know how little he was, a boy came running out and jumped into the snow, but what he jumped into was like feet of snow where he just disappeared down into the snow. Okay, hang on. Sorry that there's so much adjusting on my camera. It's just not staying. And thank goodness Patrick was there because he grabbed the kid and pulled him out of the snow, and then he had to talk with their parents like, hey, you need to like watch him because he was literally like, he would have just suffocated in the snow. Isn't that like scary? Okay. I am going to put my orange in now because we're going to do that orange colored orange slice. And again, the color I'm using is pumpkin seed, which I love. I don't know if it's the best orange for this, but it seems pretty good. I think it's going to be great for the carrot. Oh! What is happening here? Uh-oh. I think I have... I'm going to switch out my, let me do this. I'm going to switch out my filming arm because it is just falling. Okay, let me switch this out. Let me take this out. You're not going to see for a minute because I'm going to pull this out. Oh, shoot. Fortunately, I have 2 filming arms here. Let me see if this one is going to hold. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back in business. Let me go ahead. I'm going to spray one of each of these. We're going to lay down the orange first. All I can think of when we have like these storms, I think of the Donner Party. And I go, oh my goodness, it must have been like a winter like this, right? That they just couldn't even like make it out of their house. Their makeshift house. They didn't even have real houses. Oh, Big Bear? Can they, I mean, are people like up there though skiing? I mean, Big Bear, that's where people go that live in LA, right? They go to Big Bear. Okay, trim it and then stitch it. Patrick was mentioning taking Kai somewhere. He said it's like 2 hours north of Vegas. We watched like some, he makes me watch all those horrible. I watch a lot of ski videos and a lot of like MMA. I watch a lot of MMA fighting because Patrick likes that. And he's a remote control hog. Okay, get your next one. We are going to be putting the flour down. I'm going to try and focus. I feel like I've been unfocused. Is Wrightwood another ski resort? Chris, is that another ski resort? Did you say you go by Chris or do you go by Kristen? Ooh, that doesn't sound very good. Okay, so change out your thread, whichever green you want or whichever color you want in general. I'm using aloe. And next week, shoot, I've got to do our spreadsheet and I've got to do the prep video, huh? Dana has been stitching out some of the projects. Dana works at the shop and they are cute. She did the picture frame and then the pin cushion and they were adorable. I think about that too, Anna. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like Sage, and if you've heard me talk about Sage, she's like my best friend from middle school. She would have been perfect because she's tough, and I don't think that stuff would have bothered her. But I would not have wanted to be around before heat, running water, electric. Sage would have loved all of that. She would have made all her own butter, woven all of her own fabric. She would have farmed. Like, I can't even imagine farming. I'm not a gardener. Not my thing. And the other thing, I hate being cold. Like, being cold to me is the worst. So, Patrick and I try and switch off on dog duty. And Poppy usually gets up at like 6. She needs to go out and then... See this over here? I don't know if you can see how much fabric. Like, that might stick out. So try and get it. Like, get it close. Go ahead and hit start. He's been doing, like, Poppy's been getting up and Patrick's been getting up and I don't say anything. I just pretend like I'm sleeping. Because it's so cold. I don't want to go outside. But I did the morning today, and it was really hard getting myself up and out because I knew it was going to be really cold outside. And I'm sure it was like in the teens. It felt like the teens. I don't know if it was, but it felt like it. Oh my God, they lived in a tent. My grandparents, when I went to go visit my grandparents in the, I want to say the first time I went was, I was maybe like 10. So maybe it was like in the 80s, like early 80s. Okay, now you're going to put down the solid one. They still had, like an outhouse. Like they didn't get they had like running water like in like a spigot that came out of the ground, but they still had an outhouse until probably maybe the late 80s. Thread broke. And I was so scared, and we always went in the summer. But look at this happens sometimes. If that happens again, I'm going to just change my needle. But, you know, just think about that that thread going in and out of the fabric. It could get just like a little catch. And if you use adhesive too, am I in there? Hang on. So don't freak out if that happens to you. It happens sometimes. If it's happening all the time, that's an issue. Then we have to talk. Then we have to figure out what's happening. But there's a lot of things that you can check. Things that can cause like your upper thread to break. What you don't want it to be is something in your upper threading area, because that means you have to come and see us. There is, it could be something in your bobbin. That upper thread goes down in your bobbin area. And so if you have something broken in your bobbin case, that can cause your upper thread to break. A bad needle can cause your upper thread to break. Adhesive. If you're going through a lot of adhesive, that can cause your upper thread to break. If it's going back down and through like sticky stuff. Sometimes if you're using, I don't know, depends on the stabilizer that you're using too. This here, what I'm pointing at, there is a little metal piece here that holds your thread in. Sometimes when people change their needle, that metal piece slips below. And when that happens, that can cause your thread to break. So if you ever have a situation where your thread isn't staying in, you need to look and see if it's that piece right there. Little things. You know what can cause your upper thread to break? Your foot height. If your foot is too high, that can throw off the timing and cause your upper thread to break. So if you're doing a project and you raise the foot height, when you're done with that project, always put your foot height back down to default. You don't want it to be too high. Yeah, so my grandparents, they had an outhouse, and we would go visit them in the summers. I would be so scared to go out there because there were always spiders. It was like, I don't know, maybe like 6 feet by 6 feet, the little outhouse room, and there were always spiders in the corner. So it was so scary, especially when you're like a little kid. But and I was never there in the wintertime. They heat their rooms by heating the floor. So when you came out of the room though, it's just like you're there in the elements. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I took out my thread because I was talking. Go ahead and do your placement line for the last one. That's going to go pointing north. And you're going to grab your last piece, which is going to be the tufted one. That's so cool, Anna, that your grandpa built the road for the tunnel to Zion. That's just so cool. Was it during what was that time period where during the Depression where they just worked on the parks, built the roads, they were trying to give people jobs. What was that? I forget what that was called. Okay, trim it, stitch it. Okay, get ready to do the next one. That's just saying it's really thick right there. Lay this down. We're going to rehoop and do the next one. Can you imagine if you were doing this and pre-cutting your stabilizer, you would be using this much for each one of them. So let's say that is, I don't know, that's going to be like 20 inches, 20 inches, 20 inches. Instead, we've used what you would do for like one of them. I'm going to pop this up. We'll move it down. Let's get our next one in. That's why I love just hooping and rehooping. You always want to leave one design on, but we could cut that top one off, but I'm just going to leave it. It's not like it's causing that much of an issue. And I'm going to gently pull inward, not upward, inward, just to make sure this is nice and taut. Let's slide it on the machine. We're ready to go. You should check the back of your hoop too and make sure that they are flush. Can you see I'm not totally flush right here? So I'm going to just push that in a little bit more, but you want to make sure it's flush. You could even have this inner hoop a little bit lower, but what you don't want is you don't want it where it's not at least flush, because then it can pop out. And that's the worst, right? When you're almost done with a project and it pops out, and then if you don't have a camera especially, to line it back up again, and then you're kind of SOL. Okay, let's go ahead. First step we're going to do is we are going to do the placement line. I have green in there. It's just a placement line, so I'll go ahead and stitch it with the green. I'm going to grab one of those squares and my background fabric. A square of batting and my background fabric. Go ahead and put that down. Remember, if you have anything dark on here, get it, because you don't want it to shadow through and show on your quilt square. And I sprayed my background fabric. I'm going to lay this down, and now we're going to skip some steps. Let's skip our batting tack down, because we've already laid our batting down and it's cut to size. So we're going to skip that. We're going to skip our background fabric placement. And we're going to do this one, which is our tack down. I am going to change my thread out to white now. Although it doesn't have to be white. I could leave the green in because that would be easier to fussy cut. But I'm just going to put the white in. And the white, we're going to use it for the tack down as well as the quilting. Imagine like having to go and like go to the river and get your water. How horrible would that be? Okay, do your quilting, because now, number one, you have to walk, which I don't like doing. Number two, you have to carry, and water's heavy. I don't like doing that either. I'm gonna grab my next 4 pieces and I'm gonna spray these. Spray the back. Again, I'm using my handy dandy spray tent right there. And just a little. Don't go crazy. So we don't normally do that. I could do that though. Like if you wanted, I mean, it's kind of nice to cut it as you go. Because what if you use your 9 by 10, your 9.5 by 14 more than your other one, and you don't need a lot of room. So even in my prep video today, I took my my muslin and I folded it over and folded it over until I just used a 12-inch ruler with it. So you don't need a ton of room for that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your muslin pieces are just going to be strips. So if it's like a 1/4 inch longer here and a 1/2 inch longer over there, it's going to be okay, most likely. I would just buy the yardage of it and cut it down yourself. And you don't need to. You can fold it over on top of itself and then cut it into strips. Shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, put your orange in. And if you watch that prep video, the one that I gave you so much time to watch, meaning like no time, like I said, I like folded it over and just used my my 12, I think I used my 12.5-inch ruler. If anything, maybe I used my 18.5-inch ruler, but I'm pretty sure I folded it over and folded over enough. I just used, I cut it down right on this mat. So this is what, 18 inches, whatever that is. And I didn't even have it that long. Okay, so when the first time I used muslin as my kind of background stabilizer or whatever, it's really not stabilizer because a lot of times it's the weave isn't very, it's not a high thread stitch count, so it's not woven very tightly. Nikki Brazel, I said, well, what should I get? And she said, who cares? Just buy whatever you want. Just get the cheap stuff. And I just went to, this is before we had fabric at the store, and I just went to Joann's and I just bought whatever they had. What I didn't like is they didn't have wide stuff there. So I think it was like a 30-inch or something like that. What I get at the store is, I can't even tell you the brand. But I just try to buy not the cheapest, but not the most expensive. And I really like it. So we have a 60-inch, and like I was saying earlier, if you love this 60-inch, get it now, because I try to order another bolt of it. It comes in a 50-yard bolt, and they didn't even, they're not even selling it anymore. So I use the 90-inch. That's what I prefer, because I like the long strip. Some people feel like that's a little too long for them. You can take that 90-inch and cut it down into 2 45-inch strips, like if you wanted. So you don't have to use it that long, but you can use it long and just take it and on the bottom, just kind of fold it up and just flip it. So it's not making a big old mess. I just leave it like that. To me, it doesn't bother me. But, so if you're going to buy it locally at your fabric store, just, it can be whatever. I always tell people, don't buy the most expensive. I think you could buy the cheapest stuff. It should be fine. You're just using it for the back. But this is what I buy. And we've been using it. I like it. Seems to work well. Okay, put your green in. We're going to do the other 3 petals. Don't buy high-end. You do not need high-end muslin. I think this muslin, the 90-inch is $10.99 a yard. The 60-inch is $8.99 a yard, and the 45-inch. And I think we have Hoffman muslin in there for the 45-inch, and that is $5.99 a yard. Okay, you're gonna grab the one that's floral. Put it down, tack it down, and trim it. Anna, what are you working on? Okay, Kimberbell stitch. Now you're going to put this solid one in next. Go ahead and do your placement stitch. Oh, you're doing this one then. You're stitching with me. Yay. So I didn't iron my shape flex on all the way to the edge. So be mindful of that if if you don't go all the way to the edge. These are pretty big pieces. So there's lots of room. I bet you could fit two. I bet you could use this and do 2 cuties. Oh my goodness, there's so many fun projects that I want to do. Hi, Miss Cheryl. So just start with, don't worry about the other ones. Are you stitching with us today? Because you know, July through December is going to be coming out. You just, I think because you couldn't sew with us for a while. So now that you can, I say just jump in, and then start with us now, and then do the other ones later on. Or do your favorite one. I can't decide which one is my favorite. I think, let's see. I think February is my favorite. I just love those little hearts. Marion Bright. Well, Marion Bright should be going in the background on the multi-needle while you're doing Kimberbell Cuties. You should be double fisting those projects. My 10 needle has not gotten much love. I need to get it fired up. The WPA. Yes. Yeah, but what does that stand for? What does the WPA stand for? I thought it had like conservation or something in there. And that's when they like built all the roads and they did all the national parks. They did all of that stuff. I watched I think I watched like an American Experience. That's my one of my favorite series. And I think it was like a Ken Burns one. Love him. And the letters and the music, and that's where I learned all my American history, which of course doesn't stick for some reason, because all I can think about is sewing. No. Oh, they were stitching out for you. I love that. You know what I did on my 10 needle with my kids and their friends is I did a ton of we would do like luggage tags, and I would like have them pick their font and like put it all in, and then we do it on marine vinyl. That was super fun. Okay, get ready. We're going to do one more after this, and we're going to be done with our orange peel. Then we're going to go on to bunnies. I filmed, was it March's? I filmed the rest of that. And I never posted it because I like struggled a little bit because my sashing pieces the selvage had been left in them. And so I was really kind of pushing and pulling and fudging it and making it work. So I never posted it. Because I have this issue with I want it to be perfect when you see it. Which it never is, but at least almost perfect. I would settle for that. Okay, I'm going to rehoot. Don't those look amazing? So cute. We're going to pop this up, move it down. If you want, you can cut these out, cut them from the back side so that you can see where the line of your stitching is and just cut it down as like pretty much as much the middle as you can. I'm just leaving mine. It doesn't bother me. But if you feel like it's dragging your fabric, then get rid of it. Okay, I'm going to touch around the back, make sure everything is flush, feels good. Pop it on the machine. This is our last orange peel. You know the drill. Just go ahead and put it in and stitch away. Okay, this filming arm is, whoops! Spoke too soon. I'm just leaving this color in. I'm going to grab my last piece of batting, my background fabric, my spray tent, don't forget we're going to skip some steps too. Works Progress Administration. Somebody was paying attention in their history class. Betty and Miss Linda. So Patrick talks about like, which I think is so cool, like how, well, I don't know if this part is really cool, but during the Depression, his grandfather, I'm going to leave the green in there. Let's leave it in for this one, because then you're going to see it's going to be easier to fussy cut. I'm just going to leave it in for this one. Whoops. Hang on. Cut. Got to skip those steps. His grandfather during the Depression, his grandfather's parents, we're going to go here. We're going to skip the placement for the background fabric, and we're going to do the tack down for the background. Just make sure it's orange in this screen. That's telling you what we're stitching out. They couldn't afford to feed his grandfather's parents. His great-grandparents couldn't afford to feed his grandfather, so at, I can't remember what age it was, but it was young. He went out on his own and he became a cook for, I guess, the WPA. And, I want to say he was maybe 15 or 16. Can't imagine my kids doing anything like that. They can barely make toast. They were tough back then. I feel like even like my generation, I feel like we were pretty tough. Okay, background stitching. Thanks, Carol. I hope they help. That's the whole point of the sew-alongs. Hopefully you learn like a couple helpful hints, things that make your life easier, products that make it easier for you too. Okay, while it's doing this, I'm going to grab my last 4 pieces and I'm going to give them a shot of spray to the back. Remember, these should have shape flex on the back of them. And if you didn't put it on, it's fine too. These are darker colors, so it doesn't make a difference. after we do these, we're going to start on the bunnies. This is around where you never want to, when we trim these down, you never want to stitch directly on this line because most likely there's going to be a little bit of movement in your fabric. So when we trim these down, turn to the back side, spray them, press them. Always press them first and then trim them. We could kind of do that. Get you started on that kind of night. Okay, let's put our orange in first. Oh, you know, Renata, I don't even know how to. So are you using like your computer and like a cord to bring in your designs? Because honestly, I don't even know how to do that. What I need to learn how to do, and this is embarrassing for me to say, is I still don't know how to I have software, and I don't know how to bring my designs in via Bluetooth. Like I can with the Meridian and the Stellar and all of those, I can send like a design in with the app, but I don't know how to do the Bluetooth thing. And I'm so used to just doing USB. So this is what I have for my USB. I bought this on Amazon and it just plugs in to the side and you just put it in the top or bottom port. And then I just put my USB into one of these and whichever one I have, I like hit the button and it makes it blue. Just because I know, and it's rare. Honestly, I don't even know if I know somebody where their USB port went bad. But I heard, legend has it, that can happen. So I bought one of these, and then it's like sits right here. It's easy to get to. I'm glad you were able to learn that. Okay, we're going to trim it and then stitch it down. Oh yeah, are you talking about this guy right here? Lyndon Martin was the first one that pointed that out to me, but he's always smiling. Yep, he is always smiling. Sometimes even when you're not smiling. I think that's your reminder to just have a good time. Give myself a little more room for my arms. Okay, Kimberbell stitch. Then get your green thread next. A Shapeflex is the best. You gotta have that in your stash at all times. Muslin, Shapeflex, have them all at all times. You have embroidery software and then you save to a USB. I don't know. I have embroidery software. I have not had the time to figure out how to use it. And that's why we have Michelle Gilmartin in our store because she's amazing with it. Okay, let's change out to green. Doesn't this feel good? We're almost done with the orange pails. I think what we're gonna do is we'll do one of our I forget what it's called. Somebody loves me or something. We'll do one of those, and then we'll see if we can get started on our borders. Okay, you want the floral one? Grab your floral one. Patrick, I know this is TMI. He's doing a colonoscopy today. Worst appointment time ever. He's, usually you do it and it's first thing in the morning, but his is at 2 p.m. Poor guy. And I cooked like a really great, and this was not on purpose, but oh my God, poor Kai said, he goes, I've been eating like a college student, frozen food out of the fridge, and I felt so bad. So, yesterday I got up early. I made him a really good breakfast. We had I made like kale hash and like eggs and stuff like that. And then last night we made, it's probably like a Chinese dish or Taiwanese dish. And it was green beans, like the Chinese green beans, which I love because they're skinny and like super long. They're like a foot long and you cut them down. So we made that with pork. And poor Patrick, I felt so bad for him. I was like, I'll make you broth. And you can buy, there's like Vietnamese, like their pho, their noodle dish. You can buy like the broth, like it's like bouillon. It's not in the cubes, but it's like a powder. So I made that for him, and I bought him like Italian ice and stuff like that. But you know how hard it is when you can't eat, and he can't eat until after 2. So I felt bad for him. Do you have to prep your muslin at all before using it? I do not prep it. I used to, like it was part of my ritual. I would buy fabric. I would wash all the fabric. I would iron all the fabric. Somebody must have had some time on their hands. I don't wash anything now. I say if you are going to pre-wash your fabric, you should pre-wash your muslin. Like to me, it's either all or nothing. Like wash it all or don't wash any of it. So I just use it right off the bolt. Okay, you are putting down the solid green. So Patrick's like, I want to go. He wants me to go get him pho. We're going to go to Golden Flower. And I'm going to get pho for like right after he's done. And then he wants to go get sushi tonight. Do you remember when you did yours? I don't know. I did my first one. And I wanted, because my kids were eating the most delicious looking strawberries. I was like, as soon as I can eat again, that's what I want. And and spaghetti. Like, that's all I wanted. Because that's what they were eating, and I was so jealous. I was eating rice crackers. He's like, why do you have to eat something that smells so good? And I was like, rice crackers? Like, I didn't even know you could smell these. Poor little Patrick. So I am not going to be able to go longer today. Sometimes, most of the time, I usually stitch longer because I can't stop. Once I start, I can't stop. But today I'll go right on time so I can go take care of poor Mr. Patrick. That's perfect, Carol. Yeah. This is, you can just treat this, like, don't feel stressed about getting your projects done when you have to. With these sew-alongs, everything's recorded, and we leave the recordings up on our A1 YouTube page, and they're also on our Facebook page in the sew-along group. We'll add it there, too. So you don't have to feel pressured about doing the project with us. You can just do it later. Okay, last one, and then we're done with these. Oh my God, candy corn shop. Oh, I love that. That one is fun. The headstones. What fabric are you using? Because there was a grunge fabric that was so perfect for those headstones. That was definitely a favorite project. I love all Halloween. Halloween is definitely one of my favorite holidays. Yes, scrambled eggs and toast. Sometimes when I get home late, I'll just have scrambled eggs and I'll just have eggs and toast. Ooh, did you hear that? I had some kind of malfunction. I'm going to cut this thread. I'm going to cut the one underneath it, and it asked me to turn my machine off and on again. I'm going to check this. Look at this. So somehow, I don't know if you can see this, my green thread came down and got wrapped around that thread. So I am going to turn my machine off and on again. It should save my design and ask if it can resume. So let's go ahead and turning it off. Let's turn it back on. Something that's really great about the Luminaire and Solaris is it has a one-step plate changer. So I can just pull back on this, open this up, and I'm going to take... Ooh, don't look! Don't look! This is embarrassing! It is dirty in here! Oh my god. You know what I haven't looked at all is my stitch count. I have no idea where I'm at. So our shop, our recommendation is to service your machine. If you have a sewing and embroidery machine, service it every 3 million stitches or every 18 months. Sometimes I just don't have time to give up my machine. Look at that. And so... Ooh, I've never seen that like initialized before. I've never had this off during that. So sometimes I don't have time to give up my machine and I'll be a little bit over. So I don't know what happened. It's pretty dirty. You know what I need is, I gotta find them. Those Quilt in a Day, the Eleanor Burns, I love those little brushes that you can like really get in there. A minute. Oh, did you see that? Forgot to put my bobbin case back in. You know, also give your bobbin case a little brush off too. What you shouldn't do is see these little felt things. You shouldn't be taking those out. Those are supposed to be there. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. You guys get to see it all here. I bet Missouri Star Quilts doesn't. I bet her machine is nice and clean. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we're gonna put this on. And now let's put our bobbin in. Whoop. Okay, it's asking me if I'd like to resume. Yes, I would like to resume. Patrick had issues getting an appointment. Because, that is really strange. Oh, you know what? So what I was thinking was strange is it's showing me that it's doing the top one, but it's all the way down here. I'm sure like when I hit start, it'll go to the top. There we go. Oh, and then the other thing is I didn't get a chance to trim. So let me trim that because it is doing the Kimberbell stitch. So he had trouble getting an appointment because all the GI docs are retiring here in town. And I think there's just a shortage of doctors everywhere, all across the country. Okay, here we go. Here's our gorgeous Kimberbell stitch. A technical question. Why does my threader sometimes cut the thread short? It will cut 10 to the correct length, then all of a sudden it cuts the thread short and the ends up unthreaded. I'm not sure, like some of the time I'll ask people if your thread is getting cut short, I'll ask you what kind of thread you're using. Like when I'm using Aurifil or if I'm using confetti, Wonderful confetti thread, or sometimes there's threads that curl. So when you cut, they just curl and they're just like long, like when they spool off, like this is Aurifil. See how curly it is? So stuff like that sometimes will cut, it doesn't cut short, but it just curls and it kind of pulls back a little bit. There is an adjustment depending on your machine because we did have finished embroidering. I'm going to take my thread out. We did have some machines where it was funny. There was an update that made your thread cut longer, and then they did an update which the thread program to cut shorter, and then they fixed that. So you could you might want to just update your machine. Maybe you're part of that update before or after they changed the length at which it was cutting. So it could be something like that. Could be like where your thread is. Like it could be the spool cap that you're using. So, but for it to be inconsistent like that, I'm really not sure. It might just need a good cleaning. We have done services where we've pulled back the cutter, and it's not much. It's like a millimeter or two that you can pull back the cutter, so it'll cut a little bit. But that millimeter or two can make all the difference in your cut length. So we'd have to see it and kind of figure it out and look at all the variables. I always tell people there's variables: your fabric, your thread, your project, your material. There's all sorts of variables. Your needle. It could be your thread path. Making sure your thread path is right, and making sure that step number 6, the little thing that holds your thread, is in place. That can affect it too. So lots of different reasons. Sometimes when I have issues with here in town with how stuff like that is working, we'll tell the customer, leave your machine threaded, the thread on it, the project, everything, so we can look at it when you bring it in. We can kind of figure it out and rule things out. So maybe, I don't know where you are, we could always help you with that. Or if you're out of town, maybe your local dealer can help you with that. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. Supplied fabric. At that thick point on the design. Muslin we use, I don't even know the brand of it, Pam, but we carry it in the store. I could take a picture. Remind me if you want to send me an email. I can take a picture of the top of the bolt. But I use the same muslin. I'm trying to think of, I looked at it the other day and I was like, oh, I didn't even know it had a name. I just reorder the same one every time because I know it's good. All right. Oh, you know what? We're going to do one more thing with our hoop. If you have a 6x6 hoop, you can use the 6x6 hoop. If you don't, and you have a 6x10, we can use this, and we're going to snug it up. We're going to do the 4 blocks. You can also do this in your 5x7 hoop as well. Whatever works best for you. This is my 6x6. It's just kind of nice having the right hoop for all the different projects. And I know it's a luxury, but it's kind of like, I was talking about stripology rulers. Treat yourself. Valentine's Day, get a hoop. Get a hoop, get a stripology. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Time to celebrate you. Get a hoop. Or get a, I think I need to open this up a little more. Get a stripology ruler. I was using it today when I was cutting my stuff, and I love my stripology rulers. Okay. Feel around the back. Make sure everything's plush. Let's put it on the machine. We're going to do the 4 squares. And if this is getting too much for you, turn it to the back side. Where are my new favorite scissors? And just cut down the middle. You can see where the stitch line is. Just cut down the middle of that. And then you can have this stuff not hanging over if it's bothering you. But leave one of the embroideries on. That's what allows you to kind of snug it in. All right, we're ready to go. Do your update. I mean, right? It could just be an update. Maybe that'll help you. But what makes me go, it's not the update, is you said sometimes it cuts perfectly and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just needs a good cleaning. Changing the bobbin, you can do that. Okay, we're going to load the itty bitties. Oh, look at mine saying change to a bigger hoop because I still have the design up. The way to trick it is just kind of pull that back, and now that message will go away. You can remove it completely. All right, we are going to go home. Let me make sure I didn't miss any messages. Ooh, who's your GI doc, Anna? Patrick probably knows him because that climbing community is so small here, but it's getting bigger. Now that that is kind of far. Is it that far for you too, Betty? Like round trip? Probably. Betty still comes. We just make a day of it. All right. Let me get my handy dandy thread chart. We're going to do the corner blocks, and I'm doing it in my 6x6 hoop. I am going to go quilting and corners. Are they down here? The little corners? Let me see what it's called. It is called Bitty Block Shovel. Bitty Block. Oh, here they are. First thing. We're going block by block. You go clear blue tiles if all you're doing is stitching the design. You're going to go block by block if you are doing placement lines and all of that. We are doing shovel. There it is. It's kind of silly, huh? I'm going to go up here. I don't know if we have 6x6 in here, do I? Yeah, I do. Okay, just going to load one here to the top corner and bring it all the way up. I'll go into edit and move for perfect placement. Whoops, it's probably out. We're just going to add a copy. Too high. Add a copy. And I'm moving it with the arrows because I don't want to move the one underneath. And then let's add one more copy. That'll save you from having to hit the add button, find the file. It's just a quicker way of adding your designs. Move. Okay, we're ready. Embroidery. We're going to color group. Look at all those steps that we're going to have to repeat. But as long as your designs, you're not touching and overlapping, you can go layout. And this isn't on all the machines, but we're going to color group. And now look. Now it's going to do all my placement, all my tack down, background, tack down, and quilting. All right. Let's come on over here. We're going to do, let me get my pieces and my spray tan because you're going to be spraying some stuff. And you do not need to spray. I'm a sprayer because I like it more than I like taping. If you look at the instructions, the Kimberbell instructions, most of the time they're going to have you tape. But I mean, do you really want to tape your batting and all that stuff? Like, I think spraying is just easier. Don't breathe it in. Somebody asked if it was carcinogenic. I was like, probably. So don't breathe it in. Don't spray like crazy. If you can ventilate, use ventilation too. Okay, so here are my little pieces. I'm going to spray bumpy side. We'll do all of them. And then I'm going to spray the wrong side of my fabric. Bumpy. You don't have to go crazy. Light spray. You can come with Betty. You can road trip. All right. We're going to do placement. And what color are we doing? Bitty blocks. I just wrote clover. I wanted clover. Let's see. I didn't pull clover out. Let me grab it. There's my clover. I think clover is like, these are more olivey greens. I think clover is more of a green. It's shamrock. I did the same thing with my greens. I kind of just, I was like, shoot, I don't know what greens to get. And I just like bought them all. So what's in here? I'm going to use, just because I have it out, I'm just going to use sage. Just going to use this one. That'll go. We'll be at the quilt show in the corner where they stick us. Does it really? It totally contain. I mean, if you're spray, well, I don't know how heavy-handed you are. Like, are you like a heavy-handed sprayer? Because it can come out. Oh, look it. So, I know I have a 6x6 in, but it's telling me to change to a larger hoop, which means, well, let me slide that out, which means I am over the edge on one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and touch this. I'm going to touch the move button, and I'm just going to move it. This is one design. I'm going to move it one click down and to the right, and let's see if it works now. Because I was over the edge somewhere. Yeah, and now it's perfect. So I was probably one click over here on the left on this edge if I look at it. If you want to, you can go to the previous screen and you can zoom in on it, but just play with it. You might have to move just one block. You might have to go to the previous screen and move one block. Okay, this is going to be the placement for the batting first. Yeah, I'm not spraying by my machine. My spray tent is all the way over there, and but it will contain it, unless you're spraying it like you sprayed your hair in the 80s. You know what I'm talking about, ladies, with that Aquanet, because you were trying to have that big hair. It might not contain it if you're doing that. I love the spritz. I was a complete spritzer. I've gotten a little more heavy-handed lately, but I still like to spritz it. You just want it to kind of stay in place. You don't want it to you don't need it to be like glue holding it down. Okay, get your batting. You're going to put a piece in each one of those little squares. Oh, I was just thinking, should we have just done... I could have just put these in the middle and just done the placement for the background fabric. Could have done that. When you do these, like filler blocks or the itty bitties, the bitty blocks, you do want to do the placement for your fabric because it's going to fit just right in there. You're not going to be trimming it. It's not going to have like a ton of extra fabric. Okay, I'm going to skip the next step. The next step is the tack down for the batting. We cut it to size, so we don't need to do that. I'm going to skip the orange. There's 4 of them, so if you're hitting the button, you're going to hit that 4 times. Now it's the placement stitch for the background fabric. Go ahead and stitch that out. We'll put the background fabric down. What is Wild Wednesday? What is that? Do I need to know? Yeah, we'll have to make some A1 t-shirts. I want to make something special, though. If you are going to be a little heavy-handed, I would be heavy-handed with something like this, with the background fabric for this, because you want it to kind of stay down around the batting, or like with your filler blocks. Or I am a little more heavy-handed with my border strips, because I want them to kind of stay down around the batting. Maybe we'll make some A1 t-shirts. We wanted to do them last year, but we couldn't get our bleep bleep together. All right, here we go. Put these down. Sorry if that's shaking a little bit. Right inside. And kind of spread them out. If you can get it to stick down on the edges, that's even better. If not, it's going to be fine. We're going to press them and they're going to be gorgeous. If your fabric doesn't go all the way to the edge, that's okay too. Because you're going to trim the muslin behind it and you can use that as your, you can trim to the muslin and not the fabric. Does that make sense? So if it's a little bit smaller, it's okay. I don't worry about it at all. And we'll press these as well. But try and get them inside of that block. Boop. There's no machine under there. All right. Next step is going to be the tack down for the background fabric. We're not going to do that step because it's going to go literally right around the edge. We are going to skip ahead. I'm going to just touch the green. Are we there? I'm into the green. I just want to make sure I'm not too far into the green. I was too far. So I hit the back arrow and now I'm on orange. Go forward. Now I'm on the very beginning of the green. This is going to do your quilting, the shovel quilting stitch. So go ahead and do that. Oh. Oh yeah, I don't know what that is. Do you sell the large blue bobbins for Vike? I do not sell those, Renata. I'm so sorry. Yes, Beth. That's what, yeah. Nancy, I didn't know you were there. Okay, yes, Beth from Fabric Chicks. She hosts Wild Wednesdays. Oh, you know what? I think I was on a Wild Wednesday once. I didn't even know that's what it was called. Oh no! I wonder why, you know, maybe they're not doing it anymore because they are mad at their husband and then they have to put on their game face. No, I'm just kidding. You guys know when I'm mad at Patrick because I can't pretend and I tell you right in the very beginning. Don't worry about this. We're going to press them. They're going to be gorgeous. Okay, now we're done with the 6x6 and the 6x10. And now we will do a bunny. We'll do one bunny and then maybe we can start our border. This is my accumulation of glide thread at this point. Because it's just nice to have glide when you're doing Kimberbell, you know? Especially when they call for taffy and you have it. Okay, these are going to be put to the side. Done with this hoop. Let's go. We're going to go 9.5 by 14. Your, here's my 9.5 by 14. Actually, that's not it. Here's my 9.5 by 14. You can also do this in your 8 by 10. I don't think you can, I mean, no, I'm sorry, not 8 by 10, 8 by 12. It'll fit in your 8 by 12, but I like the 9.5 by 14. But either will work. You can also do it in your 10.5 by 16.5 and like do one triangle and then snug the other one up and over to the side. So there's lots of different options for this. So let's go ahead and let me make sure I have my fabric. I cut it before we started. This is the piece, right? Here we go. Is this it? 14.5. I think I just cut this to 14 inches. 14.5. Okay. This was it. Because I didn't have any. And did you see that, Miss Celinda? Like I had it folded over. Here's this is 90 inches. But when I cut it, I had it folded like this and I just went and cut off that edge. I just popped in making some placemats for Nancy, every time you tell me that, I'm like, she's not a grandma. She's too young to be a grandma. Ooh. Drop my hoop. Okay, pull in. Inward. I felt like that was a little loose. I'm going to tighten this up. Hand tighten and grab your hoop screwdriver or, I mean, this is just the advanced screwdriver. I'm going to pop it on here. Turn it a little bit more. Don't crank it, just to where it's comfortable. Like that's comfortable for me, but I can't undo it with my hand. I like this so much more than, there's the multifunction tool that comes with your machine. I use that too, but I like this because I can get my whole hand on it and turn, and I'm not just using my fingertips. All right, looks good. Let's put it on the machine. Let's load up our design. Here we go. Let's get our handy dandy spreadsheet, and we're going to see what design we need to load. And you do get a little petal of fabric here. So for me, it doesn't really bother me, and I just kind of leave it. I have sat on it though and like pulled my hoop, but you can just like pin it or clip it or whatever you need to do. That's what I do. Do you like that? So me. Whoops. Okay. These arms today. Let's see if that keeps it. Sometimes I weight it, like I put something on the end of the arm so it doesn't pull up. We are going embroidery. Let me see if there's any notes that I missed. They did it during the C word period. Oh, yeah. Let me go. Some funny carrots about you. That one's kind of a stretch. We're going to put this in. We're going to put it in memory. So once we have it in memory, we can just flip it this way, flip it back, and flip it back, and we don't have to load it every single time. So don't let me forget that. We are going, our design is carrot triangle April. Just look for the word April right here. And I'm doing the 9.5 by 14. Let's go ahead and set it. Let's choose our hoop size. I'm going to come up here. I'm using the 9.5 by 14. If you don't have that, hopefully you have an 8 by 12. And then I think you could do this also. I think there's 5 by 7 hoopings as well. So we're going to just go, I'm going to leave it right there for now. We're going to load the other design, and then I'll snug it over. So we're going to add, go back here. Cuties PES is what I named my file, and we're looking for the bunny. I'm going to set it. And it is, I got to flip it because see the little triangle, the way it goes down right here in black and black. So I'm going to edit, rotate 90 degrees, and there's my little lines. I just want to snug those all the way down. I'm just going to move it to the left. You're going to have, those are going to be the cut lines. And you just want to line them up right here on the edge of the triangle. You have one more black one that's going to be here on the edge of that design. Am I there? I think I'm there. Oop, too far over. Perfect. That's perfect. That's what it should look like. Okay. Do I want my bunnies? Yeah, they should be facing that direction. You can't do it the other way around. We're going to say okay. I'm going to go embroidery. And I'm going to snug it all the way over. Layout, move. My hoop's on. When your hoop is on and the tab is down right here, it will not let you move the design out of your embroidery field. So I'm just going to move it all the way. And you hear the knock knock. I'm going to go all the way up. That's as far as we're going to go. Let's also put it in memory. There's your memory button. This is how easy it is to put it in memory. And it's asking you where you would want to put it. You could send it Bluetooth on an SD card, your bottom port, your upper port, and machine. I'm just going to stick it on my machine. We're good to go. We don't have to load that design again. We can just swing it back and forth. First step it's going to do is placement line for your batting. So go ahead and, I just have green and I'm just going to leave it. Stitch it out. This actually, I am going to do the placement and the tack down for this. It's over $3.50 or me. I don't know what that means, Betty. Do you sell the muslin at the shop? I do sell muslin at the shop, and I sell it in 3 different sizes, 45-inch, 60-inch, and 90-inch, but I'm not going to be selling the 60-inch anymore because I tried to buy another bolt of it, and they're not selling it anymore at my distributor, and I can't find it anywhere else. So it'll either be 45 inch or 90 inch. I would go 90 inch. It's gonna be a better buy, and if it's too long for you, you can just cut it in half. Okay, let me get my spray box. These pieces are a little big for my spray tent. I'm gonna get my spray box. Here we go. I call it my 40-year-old virgin spray box, because if you ever saw that movie, this is what Steve Carell's chest looked like after he got waxed. Here's my stuff. Here you are, beautiful bunny. Okay, let me get these out first. I'm going to spray one of my batting pieces. Here's my wrong side, and one of my background pieces. Make sure you're spraying on the shape flex side. I feel like it's too hard to cut this batting to size because, I mean, look at the corners. The corners will bend and stuff. So cut it a little bit bigger on the instruction sheet. I tell people cut 10.5 inch squares. And then cut them down. And I'm going to just lay this down. Make sure it covers everything. I think 10 inches will work too. We're going to do the tack down. My thread has a little fray in it, I think. Pull it down just to make sure it's okay. Can you do a room tour? I don't want to do a room tour. Yes, I could do a room tour, but my room is messy. I'll do a little tour from where I sit. So, here is my luminaire. To my right is my PQ 1500. And then I have this little organizer. It's one of those ones from IKEA. And then I have a little rack up here that has overflow stuff. I like everything nice and compact. So you're gonna see over there is my serger, my 10 needle. Could not live without my slot wall. I love my slot wall. Those organizers right there, I love too. That fits my cones. My king cones of thread that aren't super tall. You know, there's tall ones and then there's small ones. So it fits my small king cones, like my isocord and all of that. There's my little organizer for fabric and the TV that I watch to keep me company. And then I have this great organizer behind me, and that came from IKEA. I love this. This is my main cut. This is my cut station. Oh God, I can't even. Hang on. My filming arm is getting all twisted. So this is here. I'm going to show you if I can get my. So down below here is what they're called, the calyx, I think, and that's from IKEA. But I bought a top that was longer, and then they sell legs. So there's 2 legs that support it. And then I have a wool mat that goes all the way across it. So when I'm really pressing fabric, I can really put out long pieces. Okay, we're going to trim this. Don't judge me because my room is really messy. It's really messy, but I don't have time. I just come in here. It's like wham bam. Got to do my thing and get out of here. Go to the store and work. Oh, jeez. Are you saying ooh to my sewing room? Is that... I'm so sorry. Did that just traumatize you? You're like, oh, it's so messy in there. I'm sorry. Yes, oh, you're saying ooh to my box. Are you saying ooh to my spray box? I won't give it up either. And I like all the leftover sticky stuff because, I can actually, it holds my pieces when I put them in there. remember, does anyone even use like mousse anymore? Remember mousse? Why different spray containers? Oh yeah, I think somebody answered that. I use my spray tent for most everything unless it's long pieces. Like these pieces that I'm putting down right now, they're just too big. So they won't go in there. And like a pizza box, like that doesn't take much room, right? But you could do the spray tent and like have it hang. And you know what's great about the spray tent is it's collapsible. So I mean, it's really like this big. Like once you like, you take it, hold one side this way and one on top and twist, and then it just folds up on itself. So if you're limited on space, I would just go spray tent. And you could still do the long pieces. You might have to flip them and do one side and one side the other. Like, I do love my sewing room. I still wish it was bigger because, right, then I could fill that space. But, what was I going to say about it? My sewing space originally, we moved here in 2019, but my sewing space originally was like, literally, it was the guest room and it was like a wall. I had a wall in a corner. And so I bought, that like calyx that you saw that was like turned on its side, that was my sewing table. Like I used to put my sewing machine on top of that and I had to turn my legs to the side. That was my sewing table. And this was like for a while. And then if I wanted to cut fabric, I would do it in the hallway on the floor. And then if I wanted to iron, I'd go across to the bathroom and I would iron there. Okay. We are going to, I already sprayed my other fabric. I'm just going to lay it down on top, making sure that it covers all the edges. I cut these down a little bit smaller. Like, I think 12 inches would be enough. 11 inches would be plenty. So if you want to cut down 11-inch squares, that will totally work too. I'm going to change my thread out. I'm going to skip the placement stitch. So this turquoise right now is placement stitch for my background fabric. I just laid my background fabric. I don't need to do that. I'm going to go to my tack down and I'm going to put in linen. That's the name of the color. So it's linen. That's the glide color. I love linen. It's like so pretty. Oh, no to the hairy chest. Oh my God. When Patrick and I met, you know, he was like, do you like hairy? No, I think he asked me if I like smooth chests. This would have been when we were just like friends too. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I love a smooth chest. Well, Patrick doesn't have a smooth chest. Or maybe he said, I can't remember what he said. And I wasn't even thinking. I was like, oh yes, I love smooth chests. I was thinking Sage's mom, because Sage's mom loves a hairy chest, and she even loves a hairy back. Like Magnum PI was like her favorite. What's his name? His like real name? So sometimes Patrick makes fun of me. The tough thing was washing it out. I'm just reading your comments right now. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Go ahead and do the quilting stitch. If you fold up the spray tent. Oh yeah, it'll open up. I mean, it's not like you're spraying like and you could probably like clean it out too. Honestly, I just leave mine out, but I have folded it up and taken it to the store before, and it just opens up, right? Opens up again. I'm stitching on, I have a Luminaire. So mine is a Luminaire 2 upgraded to a Luminaire 3, which I love that I didn't have to buy a whole new machine. I could just get the upgrade, and I have all the features of the Luminaire 3. I had the Luminaire 1, and when the Luminaire 2 came out, I just sold my Luminaire 1. When the Luminaire 3 came out, I just kept my Luminaire 2 and just upgraded it. Oh, that's right, Tom Selleck. That's right. Here, I'm going to give you a little demo of like folding up your spray tent and how easy it is. Here we go. So I do have this piece of cardboard in here. So you can just take that out. And you can tell I use mine a lot. You can just, is this right? I think it's like this. You grab one with your thumb up, one with your hand up, and just twist. And it comes with a little carrying case. So you just put it in the little carrying case. I don't know where mine is. When you take it out of the carrying case, there you go. How easy was that? And then you can just fold that out. I'll put this back in here, and we are good to go. So it didn't say stay stuck, and you guys know I use it all the time. This is the only spray tan I've had. Okay, it wants to do, let's look at our instructions. Focus, Jeannie. Focus. Don't lead the ladies astray. 2 spare we all want our sewing rooms to be bigger. Yeah. So yes, right? I try not to take up too much space because my issue is whatever space you give me, I'm going to fill. So I like to try and stay contained, but if I could just have a little more room, I want some room for the thread tower because I don't have the thread tower, and I've heard it'll make all your dreams come true. So I want that thread tower, and then I think that was the biggest thing that I wanted to put in here. But I would love a big table, and I would love room to have friends be able to come in and stitch with me. And the other thing I want, and this is like just in my dream house, I want to build a wall, like a glass wall around my multi-needle because it gets loud. Okay, we are right here. It wants you to stitch this out. We're going to skip that step because we've already placed it down. If you are not doing the pre-quilting, you would do this step and lay down your fabric. We're going to skip to step number 3, which is stitch the bunny base placement line for our flexi foam. So it's not step number 3 in ours because we've combined steps, our quilting with our embroidery. So I'm just going to fast forward through this. We do not need that step. We do not need this step either. This is holding your fabric down. Ours is quilted down, so we don't need that. But we need this step right here, which is going to be for your flexi foam. So go ahead, and color does not make a difference. I still have my linen in there. I'm just going to leave that in there. Or you can put a color that's going to show up better. And I'm going to grab my flexi foam. Did you like that demo with the spray tent? With the way it just popped open like that? Yeah, so it's super small. It just goes into like a little sleeve that's like this big and like flat. Like if I ship you one, it's going to be like a pancake. And then you just open it up. All right. I know it's hard to see, but here's my bunny with the bunny ears. Do you see that? We just want to make sure we get our flexi foam over the whole thing. And I'm not even going to spray it or anything. I'm just going to lay it down. I'm trying to think of the best way. If we do it like this, I think we'll be able to fit one here, and one here. And if we need more flexi foam, I keep, that's another thing I keep on hand. All right. This we will end up trimming close to the stitch line so you can get it close to the edge. You do need to make sure that that foot doesn't scoop underneath. So maybe keep your finger on the start stop button. I say dodo bird it. So you know like how dodo birds lay their eggs in other birds' nests, and then the other bird like ends up raising it and stuff, like they sit on it, and like how smart are dodo birds? I think it's the dodo bird that does that. So that's what I've done with space. Like I try to slowly take over Patrick's space. So I'm just using my snips for this. I love my snips. I love all my scissors. They're like children, and I love them all for different reasons. I can't believe I showed you my messy sewing room. I even showed you like the pile of junk that's I've just been throwing stuff on. Like there's things like shoe boxes and shoes I used to, for my kids, I would buy them like a nice outfit, a nice pair of shoes just in case, because you never know when you're going to have to go out for dinner or, I don't know, there's a wedding or, God forbid, a funeral. But I had like stuff that, like, you know, Kai never even wore. And Violet. And I mean, I need to find a place, give it a home. Oh my goodness, this bunny is going to be so cute. Oh, So Delightful requires flexi foam too, and it's not included in the embellishment kit. Just get like a pack of the foam, because you're going to need it if you're doing Kimberbell projects. If you don't have the Kimberbell flexi foam, you can just, I think this is probably just Pellon flexi foam. So yeah, they don't include it. Like with a cup of chair, they didn't include it with that either. Okay, so we just did the bunny. Place the bunny velveteen right side up. If you are using the velveteen, remember, make sure you back it with Shape Flex. If you got a kit from us, you got Shape Flex too. And just press it from the backside. Make sure everything's nice and smooth and press it from the backside. I'm going to use this. This is also Kimberbell, and this is the Kimberbell felt. So I'm going to be using this instead. Place the bunny placement line. Oh, stitch the bunny placement line. I'm not even stitching the bunny placement line because it's going to go right on top of this. I am going to give this a little shot of spray and lay it down. I'm going to lay it down a little bit over the edge, like 1/4 of an inch over the edge. Let me go spray that. Let's put this. Don't put it right on the edge. You probably are going to want to leave maybe a little bit. I can't remember if this is going to have a placement. Oh, you know what? It has a big satin stitch. It does have a big satin stitch. So we're going to put this down. I'm skipping this step, which is bunny placement, because I know where it's going to go. I'm going to do bunny tack down. As far as color goes, it doesn't say that color makes a difference. I'll just leave my linen in there. Let's go ahead and stitch it down. Make sure everything's laying nice and flat. And again, I'm using the felt, but your kit probably came with, it either came with felt or it might have come, or it came with the velveteen. Trim the velveteen close to the stitch line. What happens if you don't use that Shape Flex, you could blow a seam. Leanne is in Arkansas. Arkansas. I complete my zippy bag on my own sewn. Never give up. Yay! Didn't you love that? Those zippy bags were so much fun. I think she's coming out with, I don't know if this is old or new. This is like, I don't know if it's old or new, but she has the Jane Austen one too. And I thought it was a pre-order. Okay, we're going to trim this close to the stitch line. I'm just using my snips. Here, I'll put this up here so it stays in focus. It's going to have a big satin stitch that goes around it. I love bunnies. As long as it's like not more than a layer, then a lot of times I'll just use my snips. I find them easy to maneuver. You can get really close to the stitch. I think they're easy on the hands because you just pinch them together. My favorite are the titanium ones because they're pretty. They look like an oil slick, you know. Well, no, is it gasoline? That's like kind of rainbowy. Not oil slicks aren't pretty. If you cut as you go and you don't cut your embellishments and that stuff, you're gonna have so much left over. Because I love how generous Kimberbell is, and plus I cut these pieces even bigger, just because it was gonna make it even. Let me cut. Look how cute! All right, that was this step right here where we just trimmed it away. Now stitch the carrot placement line. Color does not make a difference again, so I'm just going to leave that linen in there. I know it's a little hard to see, but it's already in there, so why change it? And then we're going to grab your orange piece. I'm going to give mine a little shot of spray. You should have this. It's called Connected Stars, and I'm going to give this a little shot of spray. Look how tiny that carrot is. We could definitely use one piece to do like several of them. I'm just going to put it over here. We're going to do the stitch down, and then we're going to trim it. And then we're going to do some satin stitching. The 2800D, I don't remember what that machine is. I don't know. We just got we can ship trade-in machines. We just got, well, not all of them. Like if somebody's traded in a Luminaire or Solaris, I couldn't ship that. But we just got a really nice traded in Aventura 2, so it has the bigger screen. I don't know how big your hoop is. Biggest hoop on that machine is going to be a 6x10. Oh my goodness, that carrot just looks so cute already. All right, I wasn't able to decide what color I was going to use, and I think I'm going to just go with this one right here. It'll just blend right in. This is sterling, and it goes so perfectly with that felt. So I'm going to take out my linen thread. I'm going to put this in, and we are going to stitch out the bunny satin outline. This is going to be 5 minutes of stitching. Good time to kind of tidy up a little bit if you want to. I love the felt. I love the velveteen too. But doesn't he look so cute? If you are getting a kit and you haven't gotten it yet and you want an April kit, you can tell me if you want like velveteen or felt. So yours is already a 6x10. The 2800, is that, I can't remember if that's like older or not. Do you have a, has USB and everything? The other thing you can do, we keep a wish list. So sometimes people will be like, hey, when you get a Destiny or Dream Machine, call me and let me know. So you can always get your name put on a wish list if there's a particular machine you want to get. And then we'll call you. Yours is either going to look like this with felt, or you're going to have the velveteen. And the velveteen is absolutely gorgeous too. Just rich and luxurious. After you do the satin stitch on this, we're going to do the carrots, and I'm using two different colors. I'm going to be using that sage green, and I'm using the aloe. If I can find it. Where did it go? When in doubt, in my house, look on the floor, because that seems to be where I drop stuff. So you're going to be doing the top of the bunny, the carrot. So I'm going to be using these two greens. Here they are. Aloe and sage. Oh my god, it looks so adorable. Okay, I'm going to tidy up a little bit while this is stitching. get that fluffy tail. So you do need a water-soluble bobbin for this. If you, and it doesn't have to be water-soluble when we get to the tail, but you need a color that you can see because you're going to be cutting those stitches. I use Vanish thread, and we sell it at the store. Hopefully I have it in stock. When I use Vanish, I put it on a bobbin and I write V-A-N, because the last thing you want to do is use this on a project that you don't need to use it on. Could you imagine piecing a whole quilt with that in your bobbin and then putting it through the laundry? It would, all your stitches would come out. So while it's stitching this out, if you do not have, and if you don't have Vanish thread, that's totally fine. Then grab a colored bobbin, because you're going to be trimming those threads, and that's what makes that fluffy tail. So cute. I'm sewing, Leanne, if you can do it, get the Luminaire. Or the Solaris, either one. They're the best. You're going to get a 10.5 by 16 inch hoop, one step plate changer. You get a, 13.1 inches of throat space. And then all of these amazing features in the machine. You get a projector. I can show that to you too. You get a projector, so it projects. You can project your stitch in embroidery as well as in sewing. And I think what separates these machines, once you get into, you can have, it's an aerial or the journey, which is wonderful. It has an 8 by 12 hoop. I felt like I was really there when I got a machine that had an 8 by 12 hoop. The separation between the machines with the 8 by 12 and the 9.5 by 14 is then you get into a machine that has IQ Designer and Design Center. And that gets you into things where you can do some light digitizing. Now I'm talking easy stuff. Like not where you have to go out and buy the most complicated software, but it does easier things in there where you could just add a stippling stitch, where you could digitize a design that your grandkid draws, like a line drawing. So they're pretty fantastic. Yes, Annetta, Dream Machine would be, you know what, Annetta? Send me an email, because I don't think I put you on in my wish list. Just remind me. I'll put you on the wish list for a Dream Machine or a Destiny. Flexi Foam. We sell it at the store. So we sell the Pellance Flexi Foam, and I usually have the Kimberbell product too. Send me a note and I'll pull some aside for you. Yeah, XP3 is going to be top of the line sewing and embroidery. Both of them. And we do try to give you the best price. We try to meet or beat. And, usually we don't even, we're not the store that you come to shop a deal. We always, most of the time, have already given you the best deal. Okay, let's put in the darker of the greens first. We're going to put the darker of the greens in first. It's nice to do two different greens because then it's going to add a little bit of depth. And you could really add contrast and do a dark green and an even lighter green. I might look for an even lighter green. Carrot top. Let's do it. You can fly out for the quilt show. Buy your machine, we can ship it to you. And we do our classes via Zoom, so we can support you wherever you are. The Stellar is a great machine. So if you can't do the Luminaire and Solaris, get a Stellar or an Altair. Altair is going to be the Baby Lock version. Stellar is going to be the brother version. You're going to get a 9.5 by 14 inch hoop, and you get Design Center and Design Center or IQ Designer. All right, now I'm going to put the other green in, and then we're going to put the orange in. I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to finish this one, and I'm going to have to film the rest, and I'm going to make it amazing so I can actually post it. The other one I was just like, I don't know, struggled a little bit, so I didn't want you to see this struggle, so I never posted it. That's why it didn't go up. Annetta, is he not cute or what? He is just like adorable. Look how poofy he is. Oh, Celinda, we'll take care of you. We'll be your local, not local quilt shop. Only a Zoom call away quilt shop. Oh my God. I wish you could see that. It just looks so good. Looks so good. Okay, get your orange ready. We are 14 minutes into an 18-minute embroidery, so there's not much left to do. Oh my goodness. I gotta zoom in that. Can you see? I don't think you can appreciate the greens like I can, but it is, oh, it's so cute. Okay, I'm gonna put my orange in. We're gonna do the orange that goes around the carrot. I mean, is this like, this is perfect. I love this. Pumpkin seed. That's the color I'm using right now. Don't you go, how many oranges do I need? I looked at all my oranges. I was like, I probably have like 10 oranges and I didn't have the right orange. That's why I bought like all the Glide oranges. Are you having spring sale where you can get a free scan and cut with, you know what, Leanne? Call Patrick. I can't remember. He'll work a deal for you. We like to wheel and deal. So if that's what you want, call us. Oh yeah, Cindy said so. Cindy said call Patrick. Yeah, you want to call and talk to Patrick? I'm always like, I'm just the demo girl, which is kind of like how I like it. I don't remember the prices, and I keep track of them. Patrick is he's got like his memory's like a steel trap. He remembers everything, and plus he's really good at working the numbers to get you where you want to be. Okay, you need black because we are going to be doing the eye detail. A lot of times, if I'm doing black, I will put in a matching bobbin, but I don't think we need it in this case. So I'm just going to put the black thread in. We're just going to do the eyeballs. I bought myself a big daddy-sized cone of black Glide thread because, you know, everyone goes through black. Let me take out my orange, unthread it to step number 2, past step number 2, and then you can just take it out. Make sure when you're using thread like this that you always snap in the base because sometimes your thread can get caught in there and then cause your needle to break. I'm putting my black up on my thread stand. That's when you want to use your thread stand. Some people use their thread stand for everything. I use my horizontal spool pin. Most of the reason why I use it is because I'm short and it's more of a stretch for me to get up to my thread stand. Isn't that silly? That's the truth. Oh, phone number. Can somebody put in our phone number? 77. I wonder if I can type in my thing. Hang on. Let me type it in. Oh, it doesn't. It's making me sign into chat. 775-852-2323. 775-852-2323. I always remember because 775-852 goes all the way down the center row and then it's just 2323. Okay, there's my eyeball. This is where we need to pay attention. It's on our website too. 775-852-2323. Let me put this back. Okay, we're on this step right now. Change the bobbin thread to a water-soluble thread or a visible color. I'm putting in water-soluble because I love just taking a damp paper towel and just rubbing on the back and those threads all disappear and you can pop up the fringe, which is so stinking cute. I'm going to take this off and change out my bobbin. Sometimes I use my foot as just like something that holds my hoop in place. I'm putting the vanish one in. Thread on the left hand side. This thread looks just like regular thread, so don't get them mixed up. And pay attention to when you're supposed to put your bobbin in and take it out. All right, now it says, change bobbin thread to a water-soluble thread or visible color. Stitch the tail satin outline. And I'm going to put my gray back in, and I'm using sterling. Don't have the number on hand. Just check their website. 775-852-2323. All right, let me make sure I have everything. Return the bobbin thread. Okay, so we're going to stitch this out. Then we're going to put the regular bobbin thread back in. We'll stitch the tail satin outline. And we're going to change it back to water soluble. So we're going to be changing. Pay attention to your directions. Oh yeah, your directions tell you, and they put the little color. You just have to pay attention to that. Like I use sterling here. For this I use my darker green, my lighter green, and that looks red, but it's really the orange. But they tell you what it's for. Stitch the carrot satin outline. So yeah, I'm not referring to this, but I have this next to me, and this is what I'm reading to you. Sometimes I'll get my book and I'll point. Step number 9. Here we go. And then it tells you right here, and it points to it too, so you know exactly what it's doing. The directions, their directions are pretty incredible. Like if you compare the directions for this to like, let's look at an old book. Okay, here's like an older design. This is Whiskew, which is such a fantastic pattern. But look at here. Like, there's no, like now they show you the thread colors, right? So now they have the little thread color blocks. They don't have all the pictures that show you the steps. Like these have every picture. Like step number 7, stitch the carrot placement line, and then it shows you the picture. So there's going to be way more detailed instructions than what we used to get. And then they tell you to just trim it down, but they're going to have more detailed pictures. Here's your trimming instructions here. Shows you and more descriptions. So there's pictures and more descriptions. So they've gotten really good with that. We just did the tail. We just did this. We changed our bobbin. We stitched the tail satin outline 1. Now we're going to change the bobbin back to a neutral color. I'm just going to put my white back in. You're going to leave that gray in, and we're going to stitch the tail satin outline 1 tack down. So just go in order. We're taking this off, and I'm going to put my regular bobbin thread back in. Here's my vanish. I'm going to put it, I love these. Bobbin boats are great. You can keep organized with your project. So if you have like all different colors that you need to use, or maybe you just want to take a white, a black, and your vanish, you can just keep it in your bobbin boat, especially if you're going on like a retreat, or you just want to do it by project and get everything all organized beforehand. All right, so I just did this. I changed the bobbin thread. No, not that. We just did return bobbin thread to a neutral color. I just did that. Now we're going to stitch the tail satin outline 1 tack down line. So we're doing step number 15. Just go ahead and hit start if you have your gray thread still in there. After it does this, then we're going to change our bobbin thread back to the water soluble. So you need this stitch. What it's doing is it's holding down those threads so we can fringe it. This is step 15. So we just did step number 15. Now we're doing this one, which is still part of 15. Change the bobbin thread to water-soluble thread or visible color. It's worth it to get the water-soluble thread. What we carry in the store is called Vanish. There's my regular bobbin. Looks just like this bobbin, but this one says Vanish. I love Whiskew. That's so cute. We have kits in the store. But when I did mine, it was before we had carried fabric. And so I just bought a fat quarter bundle from Moda, and I used that. Okay, we just did this, where we changed the bobbin thread to a water-soluble thread. Now we're going to stitch the tail satin outline 2, still in that gray. And they give you little symbols here. Anytime you see that, the little bobbin, that means you're going to do a bobbin change. So we're stitching this right now in the gray. They're all a Ritalin to focus you, so you're laser sharp. I think when I had a cold, what was that, like a month ago or something like that, and I took a Sudafed, and I don't take much. I'm not really a vitamin person. I'm not really a supplement person. I only take something if I have to take something. Okay, that was step number 16. We're going to change our bobbin back to the white. Just leave that here. When I took my Sudafed, I was, I totally understand why they use that in meth. I was like, I had so much energy. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get so much done. And I noticed that stuff because I don't really take it really often. So I don't want to say my body's sensitive to it. But I definitely felt like, wow, I can get a ton done. Okay, step number 17, stitch the tail center with your regular thread. This is going to pull down the fringe. Oh my goodness, we're almost done. And then we're going to stitch the trimming guide. I'm going to leave my gray thread in there, and we'll use that. Do I have any vintage boardwalk fabric? I do not. Yeah, unfortunately, we did vintage boardwalk. I think was like one of the first classes, like Kimberbell quilt classes that I did. Oh my God. I think I put down 2 sessions because I had no idea how to pace it. I think we had 2 no, maybe there were 2 all-day classes that we did, which still wasn't enough. I would look online and see if you can find that. You know what we're going to do is I'm going to dissolve this. I'm going to run upstairs and get a wet paper towel. I'm going to dissolve it, and we'll show you how to pull out the strands. I'll be right back. All right. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. Okay, I'm going to slide this off. Let's come over here. We got one buddy done, right? He's super cute. There's some switching of the bobbins. But we're going to come over here. This is what's hard. Like, it's hard seeing the threads sometimes and separating them out. That's why I prefer the dissolve away, and I just got a sponge with a whole bunch of water on it. I'm going to wet it down pretty well because I can't really see those threads at all. Hopefully this is going to separate them out. Okay, let's see what we get from the front side. You want to use something that's not going to cut through here, so a lot of times, because I like to live life on the edge, I will use the back part of my, you know what, I'm going to use tweezers. Let me get some good tweezers. We'll pull it out. And you just don't want to break those threads. Oh, can you even see that? Let me get close. Do you see that? How it comes out? So that tail, the last part, holds it in. You don't want to be too rough because it's going to have a... Isn't that so much fun? Because I looked at this morning and I was like, oh, it's got a bunny tail, but it looked like it. And these will pull up too. See that? And if you cut through, just give it a little trim. It's fine. So much easier. It is so much easier with the dissolve away thread than it is trying to cut the threads and not cut threads. Like you're trying to get the ones that, only the ones that you're not supposed to cut. Sometimes I'll just do this too. You can just use your fingernails to pull them up. Like this long loop here, I'll like just cut that down. Because it is, the threads that you sewed when you put the correct bobbin back in, those are the ones that are going to hold these down. But really, the vanish thread is the way to go. I don't even know if I have got to check and see. Make sure we have that in the store. It's worth having in your stash. The other time I use Vanish, if you are a free motion quilter and you want to practice and you want to have like a practice quilt, you can use free motion or Vanish. I use Vanish Light. Use it in your bobbin. And then once you work on your quilt sandwich, you can just use a wet sponge and wet it on the back, and then you can just pull out the front stitches and just keep using that sandwich over and over again. So we'll use that sometime at the store when we're playing on our long arm machine. Because fabric's not cheap. Did I get it all? Let's see. I should have, you know what, do the inside first. And see the little bunny, the center that's holding it down? And if you broke a thread like I did, I'm just going to give this a little trim so he's not like hanging. Oh my goodness. This is too cute. That is too cute. And there is your little bunny tail. What is this thing right here? He is a little thread holding it down. Adorable. And that is how we do the fringe. All right. That is all we have time for. But now you know how to like fringe the little bunny tail and what the Vanish thread is all about, because I didn't know that. I think Vanish, the one we have in the store, we use Vanish Light. And it is it I don't know who makes it. But make sure you get some of those, put it in your bobbin, and then you're going to go ahead and just trim this down. I'm going to go ahead and hoop this up again. Let me show you how to hoop up again. This is like one of those things where I want to show you. This is how I hoop up again, and my point of reference if you're using the 9.5 by 14 inch hoop. And you'll just kind of have to figure it out if you're using the other one. But I'm going to pop this out. We do waste that top corner, which is kind of a bummer, but we don't have to waste any more than that. Maybe you can do something else with that. I like to, oh, let me get the bottom down. Let me see if I can get a better view. Can you see it all like that? Here is my bottom hoop. This is where I go. If only I had a little more room here in my fancy filming area. I was watching a video with Missouri Quilts, and they're filming like their studio, and I was like, oh, I'm almost as fancy. They had all their fancy cameras, and I was like, well, all I use is my phone. But it's okay. You guys get the gist, right? That's not too bad. Okay. I like to get this one down lower, like right here. There's if you're on the 9.5 by 14, it is 1, 2. Center mark, 2 hash marks down. That seems to be like perfect. This part right here. Once you're there, ooh, he's far away. 2. Let me pull it back a little bit. Maybe he's too far over. And this like about 1 inch down. I feel like, is it going to fit like that? And you can always use your handy dandy, let me pull this over here, projector just to make sure it's going to fit. Okay, I'm in. I'm going to pull inward. Hopefully that looks right. Let's show you how to flip your design over. Okay, here we go. I'm going to slide this onto my machine. Make sure you have the right bobbin in there and it's not your vanish. I'm also gonna use my projector just to make sure. Why? Because I can. Because you can. It's a good way of checking. Right? Okay, we're gonna say okay. We're gonna take our design. We're gonna rotate. This design, if we flip it like this, is gonna be too big to fit this way. It's automatically gonna take our design and flip it 180. So I'm just, even though I hit 90, it'll flip it all the way. There we go. I'm going to scoot him all the way over to the right-hand side. So we're going to use our move buttons. And let's make sure we fit. We are going to go ahead. Your projector only works if you're at stitch 0. Do you see how we're at 0 out of 10,000, almost 11,000 stitches? Even if you're 1 stitch in, your projector's not going to work. So let's say you started stitching. You were like, oh, that doesn't look right. And you were 1 stitch in. See how I'm 1 stitch in? When you go to use your projector, it's going to go knock, knock. Doesn't work. That's your cue to go, oh, look, I did a stitch. Go back here. You can just hit this button down here. That'll take you to stitch 0. So we're going to go stitch 0. I'm not looking at messages right now, so if you ask me something, I'm not ignoring you. We're at stitch 0. Go ahead and turn on your projector. It's going to be the upside down cone. And that way we can check and make sure we're not overlapping too much. Now your projector, isn't that cool? Another reason to get a Luminaire Solaris if you can. It really is just, it's just the best machine ever. That's his tail. That's what that is. So your projector stays small. It's going to be 3 inches. What is this? 3 by 5 inches, something like that. You move your projector with your finger. I'm going to move my projector all the way up here to make sure it's not too high up. And then you move your design with your arrows. So I'm going to go ahead and move them all the way up. There we go. It's not even coming close. My fabric will probably overlap. I love where it is. We're good to go. And I don't really have to check the whole thing, but you're not seeing this. I'm moving the projector around with my finger on the screen. And, you know, looks fantastic. We're ready to stitch. So that's the projector. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off on my screen, and we are ready to stitch. But I'm going to take Patrick to his appointment. So thank you so much for joining me. I will film the rest, and as long as it's not horrible, I will post it. You can make the quilt label in that corner. Oh, yes, Shirley, that's a great idea. I could make the quilt. Were there quilt labels that came with this? I don't even know. Were there? Okay. Have a great day. Be creative. I hope you get all of this done. I'll come home. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight. But I will film the rest of this and we'll get it posted. And next week on Monday, we're going to start, we are starting Oh So Delightful. And hopefully everyone has their kits. If you still haven't gotten a kit and you want one, I think I have 5 left. I'll talk to you later. Bye.